Meeting starting right now. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Councilmember Daniele? Present. Councilmember Ispan?
Present.
Supervisor Albrecht?
Present.
Councilmember Foreman?
Here.
Councilmember Rye?
Here.
All right. Got a few adjustments on the agenda that I'd like to amend. I'd like to add on item for special consideration or meter vault for special consideration. I'd like to move number 18 and 14 from consent to resolution. And I'd like to add one person to the hazard pay. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Daniele, all in favor?
Aye.
First thing up today will be a presentation, acceptance of minutes. Madam Clerk.
We have minutes from February 16th and March 2nd. I was able to get finished.
Excellent. I present that as a motion to accept. Can I have a second?
Second.
Daniele, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so next up would be presentation regarding Council Point VA Hospital. We have a few gentlemen here that are going to make a presentation. Can you please rise and go to the podium and start your presentation?
It's, first of all, Cullen Lyons from Veterans in Castle Point was kind enough to come out and give us a status. Looking forward to what you have to say, sir.
So I'm Cullen Lyons. I'm the Public Affairs Officer for the VA Hudson Valley Healthcare System, which includes Castle Point, our Montrose Hospital, and then 7 clinics throughout the Hudson Valley. So I'm here because I'm sure everybody's heard some rumors about Castle Point closing. Over the past few weeks, there's been a lot of hype and talk about it. And to explain it further, you have to start back in 2018. In 2018, the federal government passed law that was called the Mission Act. And the Mission Act, the majority of it, the biggest thing it did was open up the eligibility requirements for veterans to get care in the community. Part of that bill was established a process to do a asset and infrastructure review. So on March 14th,
That's the Air Commission?
Yep, Air Commission for short. So on March 14th, the Secretary of the VA released recommendations based on the findings of the Asset and Infrastructure Review, the AIR Review, and one of his recommendations was to establish a new facility, a new state-of-the-art facility in the vicinity of Fishkill, and once those services are up and running, to shut down Castle Point. So the big thing to know about this, or the most important thing to know about this, is that it's a process. It's an 8-step process. We're in the 4th step right now. These recommendations from the Secretary now go on to a nonpartisan appointed committee called the Air Commission. And the Air Commission over the next year, they'll be visiting here. They'll be visiting this area. We'll be talking to local people about their recommendations. They can change the recommendations with justification. After that, I believe it's the end of January 2023, they present their recommendations to the President. The President signs off yes or no. If he signs yes, then it goes on to Congress, and they do the same, yes or no. So
2023 is coming up pretty quick, though, if you think about it.
it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So all the more reason for us in the town to help the veterans, the over 800 veterans that live in our town, to organize somehow to create a voice and give their opinion before the Air Commission.
Absolutely. There's going to be an opportunity for everyone to give their opinion when the Air Commission comes.
Right, right.
Do you have a list of these 800 veterans? Where do you get that number from, Brian?
From him.
So you have a list of 800 Fishkill residents that
So I don't have a list of it. It's basically a population estimate. It's called VetPop, is what the VA calls it.
So you don't know their names and addresses
No.
or anything like that? Okay.
The only way we could get them is from Becky if they're taking a veteran.
Christian, assessor.
I don't want to do that.
I don't.
I mean,
Privacy.
That's
I understand, but they're, Some towns have done that with, and
They have?
maintained privacy, just saying.
Okay, all right.
Well, I'm one of them, so Cullen Lyons, resident of Fishkill.
Number one.
Veteran.
You're re-enlisted, by the way, to help us.
So, yeah, I think that I'm here today because there's been a lot of confusion around it. The first day that this air report came out, the Military Times ran an article, and right at the beginning of the article, they listed all the places that were recommended to close. Later on, at the end of the article, they explained that all of these places would be replaced with a modern facility. Some people didn't read on, they just saw that Castle Point was closing, and it just gained traction from there.
Thank you. Ryan, anything else?
So, there's so many things that we could discuss, but I think the best thing to do is from here, hopefully create our committee in whatever form it is and come out and maybe do a nosedive on deeper on the issues so we can work to
Definitely.
help our veterans. So I know you were open to helping us come out and meet and do that at a later date.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
All right. My pleasure.
Adam Roche.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Adam Roach. I'm the director for Dutchess County Division of Veteran Services. I have Anthony Kavoris with us. He is the director for MHA of Dutchess Veterans Programs. And just to talk about what we do, my office submits claims for vets, and also we help navigate a very confusing VA system, so to speak. But we are a liaison through MHA and also the VA, so if veterans or family members have any questions, 845-486-2060. Give me a call.
Can you say that again slowly,
Yeah.
please?
Say it
The
slower.
number?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
845-486-2060.
Do you have a email?
Yes, it's Roach, ROCHE, at dutchessny.gov.
Excellent.
And again, I always preach that I have an open door policy, so anytime you want to come in and, just talk about, like I said, it's some of the things are extremely confusing, so please don't hesitate. So I really encourage all veterans to utilize that. Now with that, I want to introduce Anthony and talk about the programs that he has to offer. It's more of the mental health aspect, but it's absolutely phenomenal program. I was in his position before I got this position, and I can tell you right now, it truly saves lives, because I personally have done that. So Anthony too. So Anthony, you want to talk about it?
Yes. Hello. So we left all our brochures outside too, and I left my cards out there. Our phone numbers are out there. So we have a pretty complete services for veterans. It's pretty wraparound. It starts off with Vet to Vet, which is a veteran peer mentoring service, right? So basically, we can hand a peer mentor off to another veteran, kind of like a battle buddy. They could go do whatever they want together, coffee, just talk. And we have groups that we do every other Wednesday. And then on top of that, we have other groups in between throughout the month and the year, and events that we do is always free to vets and their families. So like a sunset picnic, bowling, movie night, paint night, game night. We have all kinds of stuff that we do. So helps veterans get out of their house and mingle with other vets and socialize so they don't isolate so much. So the Vet to Vet's a great program, but since we started Vet to Vet, we've added a lot of stuff onto that. So we have the Hero program, which is a housing program for vets. So we help vets find housing, vets that are either homeless or in danger. They might be behind in rent a couple of months or in danger of foreclosure or something like that. They can come to us, we can help them out. On top of the Hero program, we also have a Vet Tap, which is a veteran employment program. And so we help veterans find employment, as well as work on their resumes, get some certificate training under their belts, that kind of thing.
You say there's an app? Is that what I heard you say? Veterans?
Vet Tap.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Vet Tap, yeah.
All right.
So, and again, all three of those brochures are out there, so you could read through them and see what they have to offer. We even started an equine program recently, and we're doing a lot of things. So there's a veteran who needs anything, you just send him my way. If we can't help him, we'll find out who can help him, and we'll figure out the resources available.
That's great.
Yeah, so our program is funded partly by the state and partly by the county. So, in fact, the HERO and the Vet Tap is going to be all county now, and then Vet to Vet is state. So,
Do you have any contact?
Any questions?
information? Any contact information?
yeah, it's all on there, but you could just call the MHA number, which is.
I have your business card. I
Yeah.
can give it to, we have it.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
just-
and I left some more outside
For
too.
people watching that
Yeah.
don't come into town hall,
So if you just call 845-473-2500 and ask for the veterans programs. So there's different, extensions, like mine is 1364, but I have like 5 full-time employees, so any one of them will talk to you about anything that you need.
And
So
what was your name again, sir?
Anthony Kavoris,
Thank you.
Could you spell your last name for me?
sure. K-A-V as in Victor, O-U-R-A-S.
Thank you.
All right, anybody got any questions? I'll answer if you want. Nobody? Okay.
Again, give us a call, please.
Thank
is
you.
there anybody else speaking on behalf of the veterans today?
Virgil is,
Gentlemen, sir?
Virgil Cavallari, who's a Fishkill resident, a volunteer with the Dutchess Veterans Organization, and go ahead.
Right, thank you all. Once again, it's a good Irish name, Virgil Capillari. I just, not too long ago, started doing some volunteer work with the Dutchess County Veterans Affairs Committee. So in addition to being a vet, a patient at Castle Point, and a beloved Fishkill resident, I really want to thank Councilmember Brian Rye for kind of reaching out at the earliest stages to kind of start brainstorming on ways we can bring some sort of veterans representation, at least from the town to local level. Something I kind of started thinking about and working. I've been assisting East Fishkill for about the last year and a half, and I think it's high time that we can do something here, and I do think there's a lot of veterans amongst ourselves that would be more than happy to. We kind of have 2 segments of veterans as I've come across over the years. You have a lot of older folks who are a little older than me, at least their hair color says so. And we do have some younger ones who are transitioning out of service. For those not familiar, when you hear the word TAP, transitioning program, right? Assistance program. So it's a big deal, especially aside from just the mental health services and other things. Trying to help a lot of vets find jobs is something that I'm also committed to in other volunteer avenues, and I think that's something that we could really pick up on. At least I keep hearing there's a lot of job openings and job wanted, so perhaps there. So in the coming weeks and months, I kind of hope to work a little closer to get an idea as to how we can work toward forming some kind of town committee or something where we can interface and bring it together. It definitely helps that several of the members here, yourselves, have served, so that puts things in perspective.
As I understand, you're volunteer number 1, right?
Yes, sir. So I have no problems. It's something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm willing to dedicate whatever time is needed to get this off on the right foot and make it a success. And I think it's ripe for the setting, especially with the discussion of Castle Point. Now more than ever, we need to be focused on, getting our ducks in line, and whatever I can do to assist the town in the larger county, I'm prepared to do.
Thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Anybody have any questions for the 4 gentlemen that just spoke? Anybody want to say anything? All right, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you
very
very
much. Good job, Brian.
All right, I'm glad. I know this is a passion for all of us, so, I'm glad that we got it together.
Yes. Our next presentation will be Scenic Hudson.
see if my tech agrees. Okay, so, hi. I'm Amy Casala. I'm the Executive Director of Hudson Highlands Fjord Trail. We're a subsidiary nonprofit of Scenic Hudson, working specifically to implement the Hudson Highlands Fjord Trail project. The town has been a long-standing partner in the coalition advancing this project, so I'm just here this evening to give an update on where we are and where, what to anticipate in terms of a construction schedule. And I also have Linda Cooper, the Regional Director for State Parks, with me, so we can field questions after. As a refresher course, the origin of this project really was in the Cold Spring area, focused on the traffic and congestion in the Breakneck region. This is a nice day. At Breakneck, it's really picked up in terms of the chaos of parking, people arriving by train when the train station was open at Breakneck, and that was sort of the critical need that drove this project in terms of a coalition saying we need to do something to make this a safer condition. So the steering committee that came together to lead that charge, Scenic Hudson, before Fjord as an organization existed, was the lead partner coordinating a 19-member coalition. And so the 4 communities in the project area are all participating, including Fishkill, 4 state agencies, DEP, Metro North, and then a number of nonprofit partners working within the region or very locally within the Hudson Highlands State Park Preserve or Cold Spring area. The project, as we're moving forward, is really about creating a safe space and access to the amenities of the Hudson Highlands State Park Preserve while keeping the roadway safe for locals, making visitation and kind of congestion management accessible and legible so that it doesn't detract from the quality of life of locals, but also potentially create some benefits for local economies. So here's the vision map, which hopefully is legible at this scale, but there's a 7.5-mile linear trail that goes between Cold Spring and Beacon, and it goes right through that high volume corridor along 9D and the railroad tracks by Breakneck Ridge and a number of popular trailheads. Also through the woods past Duchess Manor, which we've purchased as our visitor center and headquarters, across Fishkill Creek and into Long Dog Park and Beacon. The entire project has been designed to be resilient to sea level rise, given its proximity to the river, which will be subject to sea level rise. So that's just been baked into the project planning. The whole of the 7.5 miles is broken into 4 ecology zones that we've identified from south to north: the river's edge, the highlands, which is the Breakneck area, forest, which is in that Duchess Manor zone up until Fishkill Creek, and then once you're in that Fishkill Creek causeway and into Long Dog Park, it's the marsh zone. And that's important from a storytelling, how we play with the material palette, and different education opportunities we hope to have for local youth. So just to quickly go through how the trail looks in all of these zones. So it is a shared use path. We hope to have biking and walking accommodated. So it's not just serving hikers, so it certainly will be serving hikers. It'll also be creating an amenity for locals, for daily use, for biking, for families. In the Highlands, we'll cross the river on a bridge like this, or cross the railroad tracks, sorry, on a bridge that will be constructed in the first phase. In the woods, we're looking at a natural palette, so it'll be, not paved, it'll be stone, though we are seeking to have ADA wherever possible. And then in the marsh. So that just gives you a flavor of the different, highlighting different opportunities in each of those zones. This would have wildlife viewing, fishing opportunities to play into that marsh and causeway activity. We're also creating moments of rest within the park system. So this is a trail bank in the Breakneck Connector, which is the first phase by Breakneck. Just creates space for gathering. Kids could play and climb. So there are bigger ones like this, but there's smaller spots where it's just a bench with a great view and an opportunity to sit and rest. We'll also be improving a number of areas within the geography of the park, such as Little Stony Point. And this is a space where you might have a meander. So it's not that big shared use path. You can hop off the trail and have a different experience in each of these areas. This is Little Stony Point, where you have a beach access and a great view. Also a very popular fishing destination. And then signature destinations. Because so much of the visitation has been in the Cold Spring Breakneck area, we are also seeking to help spread that out to alleviate some of that pressure. So that includes some signature destinations like the top photo, which would be a forest net zone in the forest. That's a way to immerse people in the tree canopy, but also create a family-friendly destination, and it creates some attraction point that's not breakneck. So we've been working with the steering committee, but as I announced, we do now exist as an organization. And so often we're asked the question, who's going to maintain this once it's built? Is there garbage collection? So yes, there will be. And so we'll be the organization responsible for maintaining the park and emptying the garbage bins, monitoring parking behavior, et cetera. And hopefully programming down the road as well. So some updates on the planning, design, and construction. We had completed the Ninham Trail, in which you all were starting a statue at the same time, so it was a great convergence. So this is a trail that goes from Wilkinson Trail in the Breakneck area up to the flagpoles on Breakneck, and that was seen as a critical need because the flagpoles are a false summit on Breakneck, and that was the spot where a lot of trail spreading behavior was happening and lost and injured hikers because people were inexperienced. The data shows this is often somebody's first hike because it's spread on social media. So they show up, they try this, they get to that spot and decide they can't go further and try to find their way down. So that's where you get that twisted ankle. Somebody lost at night because they wanted to go for a sunset hike. And the emergency response demand is always high on our minds, and so this creates an easy exit point for people without destroying habitat or needing a rescue from emergency responders. We've also been working with DOT, state parks, and Metro North to implement what we called early safety improvements. Early in that it's improvements that were going to be part of phase 1 for improvements at Breakneck Connector, but that safety really demanded earlier action. So that has been implemented, and that includes fencing to keep people out of the railroad right-of-way. There has been a death and an injury in the last couple of years, so that was really an important measure. Safety improvements around the platforms, and then some more improved trail connections between the two platforms to make it clear how people, if you're not walking across the tracks, are supposed to get to the southbound platform. Phase 1 construction, which will start later this year, is the Breakneck Connector. This was always going to be the first because this is sort of the epicenter of visitation. So this would be the bridge coming across the tracks, which would be constructed. Main trail going through the site, past the train station northbound, and then connecting to the southbound. Creating 2 improved parking lots, improved on-street parking, and improved crosswalks and a sidewalk, so that will allow for the speed limit in this area to be reduced from 55 miles an hour to 40 and make us for a safer condition for all of the activity happening in that area. We've also built in a shuttle stop here because ultimately we would like to operate a shuttle that'll take people from point to point from remote lots to here because parking is always going to be a limited condition given the topography of the area. We're also adding bathroom facilities. So these will be composting toilets. It'll be a cluster with 8 bathrooms and then gathering spaces. This is an important intersection moment where you have train arrivals, people finishing their hike, people arriving by car, and some through walkers. So this is a space where we created gathering room for people to sort of distribute and disseminate in there to have that capacity. We'll also be looking to move the trailhead. It's currently located right at the mouth of the tunnel, and when you have 400 people arriving by a train seeking to be oriented by the trail stewards, that makes a great crowd right at the mouth of the tunnel, sometimes spilling into the roadway, so we certainly don't want anyone to be hit by a driver coming out of the tunnel. This will move the trailhead up the hill just a little bit and provide a nice shelter for the stewards who do the orientation meetings on the weekends. Just a view of the bridge. It's a highly limited topography, but we've, I think, gotten an artistic bridge. It'll be a repeating arch bridge, a pre-weathered steel underpinning, and then a wood deck and a railing. We're already thinking ahead to future phases. So we have been in discussion on Shoreline Trail, which would be the piece that connects south from Breakneck down towards Cold Spring. And this is obviously a tricky environment for planning. You're in between the railroad and the river. So lots of constraints and considerations to try to thread the needle here, but we're getting very close. We've also initiated a community planning process with Little Stony Point. So a lot of groups who use this program at Boy Scouts, Little Stony Point Citizens Association, state parks, working to inform what happens here and how this can be designed with the user in mind in terms of future programming, including a play space for kids and families and outdoor classroom space for schools to use for education, which is currently happening at the site but is not, they don't have any facilities to do so. We just kicked off a parking and shuttle study, and the town is participating in that shuttle study to understand the parking system that will help provide remote lots for people visiting, and how that's managing the behavior within the communities as well. So that's shuttle stops and parking. And just to emphasize, we're always cognizant of the emergency response demand on the mountain related to visitation. And so Ninum Trail was one move. We're also working at, we've incorporated dedicated emergency responder parking in the site plan for Breakneck Connector. And we're starting to work on other strategies for further reducing the demand on local emergency response services so that that's easier and not taking that service away from the communities who might be calling at the same time. So in terms of schedule, we're looking at fall of this year, starting construction with the upper overlook, and then State Parks is going to actually put the bridge out for bid and construction and head up the construction, and that would be anticipated for early 2023. All of that work for Breakneck Connector and bridge would wrap up late 2024 or early 2025. And at that time, we'd like to have the shuttle and parking system up and running in some form to kind of have a grand opening. So we've been getting lots of input lately. This is just a list. You're not intended to read all of that. Just to say, we've been out and about having different focus groups, listening sessions, and presentations like this evening. And we're happy if there's other groups locally who would want to hear more, be more engaged. We're happy to set up something else. On the agenda, we have we'll be meeting with the Cold Spring Chamber, and I think engagement with the business community is a trend we'd like to pursue more of in the future. We also have, we'll be talking to all of the 4 communities along the trail route, so those are all pending. And we'll be hosting at Dutchess Manor June 25th, a community day, so we'd like people to come out, get to know us, hear more about the project, and just hopefully have a fun day. We just launched a new website, so it's hhft.org, which has lots of project information, and there's other ways to stay informed. So presentations. If you'd like to schedule us to come and visit for a presentation, we issue a monthly newsletter and have a Facebook presence and Instagram. So please check us out, sign up for the newsletter. We'll be sending out the April one soon. And that's it.
Anybody from the audience have any questions? Mr. Marsh?
The question is,
You got to come up to the mic, Tommy.
Tommy Mosh, Wappinger Falls. I looked at your presentation on your emergency response and numerous times being called up there to assist our department. I didn't see anything about a coordinated number system, which means is if you have a number system like the Parkway or 84, that if hikers are lost in the woods, they have a grid number system that you can be determined by color code. So if they're in blue 56, we know where you are, blue 56, stay put, we're gonna find you right then and there. Instead of trying to pinpoint on GPS and trying to locate and where are you and blast horns and sirens and stuff. I recommend doing that for your quadrants and zones for each from point A to point B in some sort of numbering system. It makes it easier for the folks coming in from New York City or whatever to understand, hey, I'm in blue 56, I hurt my ankle, can you come out to find me? Stay put, we know where you are.
Great.
Thank you.
So yes, we haven't put that into the breakneck connector, but we did just have a meeting with State Parks to present our emergency action plan, which will be kind of refining from there. And I think in future design, especially in that forest area, that's much more terrain. Our area of responsibility will end at the trailhead, so then it becomes State Parks. But certainly we want to know how to locate people and then coordinate that response with State Parks, so thank you.
Ma'am? Yes, please.
Thank you, Kim.
Amy.
Amy, I'm sorry, Amy. Thank you, Amy, for the presentation. My name is Linda DeBreda, and I live in Beacon. My question to you is, can you share with us any information about...
Into the mic.
Any information about the project coming north from Duchess Manor? So in the presentation tonight and the one I had seen earlier, you spoke a lot about how you get to Duchess Manor, but we really haven't heard anything about what happens north of Duchess Manor. If you could, share anything that you might know. Thank you.
So we are still at master plan level in that zone, but let me see if I can go back to the beginning. So that's basically in this zone here. So we have a master plan route. We are looking at creating a new bridge across Fishkill Creek if we can't reach Tyranda, which we haven't been able to reach Tyranda Bridge because there's private property interests. So we would potentially create a new bridge that goes across. Then you're in Madam Brett Park, Long Dock Park, that's the Clara Sauer Trail. That's all fairly straightforward. In this zone, there's a utility easement that goes through here. It used to be an old rail line, so that's actually very graded right in there. And then this would have to be kind of mapped out more. So this is a trail route. It has been walked. Some of it's through bramble in this area here, but they did get through there and walk it. So it'll have to be truthed out, but right now it's at master plan level, and it's in an environmental review. So more design detail will be given as these advance to sort of construction drawings, but right now we're just at this line on the map kind of level for how that route would go through. But there is an environmental review document that'll be issued for public review and comment shortly, and so that will give you more information in terms of the detailed route and what values are along that route.
Will that be on your website?
We'll flag that on our website in our newsletter. State Parks is the lead agency, so the formal announcement will go through State Parks, but that we'll try to make that as public and known as possible.
Any other questions? Board members?
I have a couple. So in the end, is this a state park?
No. So we are, most of this is funded through private funds and grants. We're sort of, I think of us as a park within a park. We have a cooperating agreement with State Parks that allows us to develop this and operate this, but it is mostly within land that will be in the control of State Parks.
So it's in the control of state parks, but not a state park. So is there a fee to enter this?
No fees to enter, though we do plan to charge for parking.
Okay. Is there swimming in the meandering spot?
We are interested in the Little Stony Point area. That's one idea that's gotten a lot of traction, is right now swimming is prohibited because there's no lifeguard, and people are interested in seeing some sort of a, like the Beacon River Pool kind of concept where it's safer and delineated and have that be a swimming area. So that's very early design, but that has, we're at the Maple Syrup Day at Little Stony Point, and that was, we gave people dots to vote, and that was the winner.
It sounds nice. I just get concerned if there isn't anybody there lifeguard-wise for safety. My big concerns are always safety. Is there going to be a staffed first aid area?
We haven't discussed a first aid area per se, but we would have staff available to be on call.
Let's see. Is Duchess Manor, I think the last time I saw you was a couple years ago. So is Duchess Manor still on the tax rolls, or will it be going off the tax rolls?
Duchess Manor is not currently on the tax roll, but 14 Course, which we also purchased, is.
So it's not. Yeah, my issues have always been liability and safety. So is there a cost at all to the town for this?
No.
And the bridge that goes over and the road, is that a town road?
For the Breakneck Bridge?
Yes.
That's a state road.
No, the bridge, the road that you're building to create the bridge that goes over the railroad tracks.
It's the trail, and it'll be owned by state parks, so it will not be a town road or responsibility.
Okay, yeah, I know I'm the 1%er, but liability for our town concerns me, and the safety concerns me that these trails are literally right next to the Metro North Railroad, and those are lovely pictures, but, it just looks like a little leap over the fence, and, if you're not watching someone, they're going to go right into the railroad tracks, so I hope all goes well. Thank you.
Carmen, any questions? John?
Nope.
All right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
looking forward to it. This is going to be a great asset to the citizens of the town of Fishkill. It's going to be an attraction, and it's going to be extraordinary, and we got a lot of natural resources. There are not many communities in the United States that have what we have. We have a river, we have a mountain, we have these trails, we have a lot of good stuff living in the town of Fishkill. It's not only an honor to be your supervisor, everybody that lives here should be proud of living in Fishkill. It's a great place to live. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, next up is privilege of the floor for general town items. This is the opportunity to speak about any town item, just address myself as the town board. I don't want to hear any questions directed at anybody else or any persons, and do not use anybody's name, and otherwise you feel free to come up and say what you want to say. Anybody like to speak? A gentleman there? I'll get you next, Mr. Stark. Greg, close the door for me. You got it, Virgil? Thank you. Just identify yourself, please.
Absolutely. Dennis Pavlock, Beacon resident, Mr. Supervisor. I just want to let everybody know, but I'm having the informational meeting at City of Beacon on Castle Point as well, May 7th, first Saturday in May, 10 o'clock in the morning, at the Memorial Park Pavilion, 10 o'clock in the morning, and everybody's welcome to come. I'm going to have Director of Veterans Affairs from Sean Patrick Maloney's office will be there in attendance, as well as Antonio Delgado, Sean Patrick Maloney. Assemblyman Jacobson's going to be there, Sue Sereno's going to be there. I called everybody's office and let them know about the meeting. This is not my first rodeo at Castle Point, and I'm sure other veterans are saying the same thing to themselves as well. I believe that it's more than closing Castle Point. I believe it's the 40 acres, the 40 acres real estate behind Castle Point that they're looking for the McMansions to overhaul their scenic views of the river and all that kind of. So what I'd like to suggest the town do is take the zoning, change the zoning on that in the back of the 40 acres of the Castle Point to eliminate that possibility or that process for that to happen. I'd like also to say that if the higher-ups at Castle Point, that the director's office, I know there hasn't been an update at Castle Point since 1989. That's my understanding. That's what it was told to me by somebody from Castle Point who told me that last update was 1989. If they're in need of an update, why doesn't someone reach out to the representatives and let them know that we need an update at Castle Point? I am not in favor of moving the Veteran Services to an updated location and have the veterans go down to Montrose in the meantime while another location is available. That's not an option. Failure is not an option. And I see that going around for another rodeo show. And I'm not for it, and I don't know about anybody else is for it or what, but I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Can you give me the date and time of, you said the meeting?
10 o'clock in the morning, May 7th, first Saturday in May.
We'll attach it to the Eagle on Friday. Mr. Stark?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jan Stark, resident of town of Fishkill. I hope this is the right forum for this. I've spoken to one of our town councilmen previously, as well as our building inspector. There's a property on Red Schoolhouse Road across from the prison property, or close to the prison property, where there's been a lot of unearthing of soil, cutting down of trees. I've spoken with and this has been going on for quite a while, and I've spoken with our building inspector, and he has told me that there has been no permits issued for that. It's changed the direction of a creek that flows underneath Red Schoolhouse Road. Is part of the new aqua filter system, I believe, that you've initiated. The person's been, I guess, flagged or fined or whatever, and nothing has happened. The building inspector's hands are somewhat limited and tied as to what he is able to do. My recommendation to the board would be to strengthen those laws and about permits and actually be able to pull the person into court, do something, but be able to stop what has been taking place. It's become an eyesore. I realize that the individual may be looking to subdivide his property. There's been issues with that. A lot of different things have gone across the planning board that have been rejected, my understanding. And I would just hope that this council would be able to strengthen the laws and be able to do something about it because it affects all the taxpayers. Because if this individual is able to do this and get away with it, why can't others? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stark.
Thank you.
Mr. John, can you open that? Yep. Okay. Anybody else? Mr.
Supervisor, Tommy Marsh-Wappingers. Here tonight to talk about the infamous Mustang and the charging station. What I would like to see the town do as soon as possible, because there's been a bunch of erroneous news reports regarding it, is the town to get an SOP, SOG on how to access the charging station, the PIN number, the code. So if I have people that need charging of their EV cars, that I can bring them down to here, or somebody else, that the town could have on file or in their paperwork to get access to that. And that should be done as soon as possible, and a press release, so this can be put to bed to rest.
Yeah, we could do that. Charging stations are right in back of those doors right there.
But again, there's no SOP, SOG on
It's-
file where I can grab and have in my files to say how to do this.
What it basically is, it's a charge point system. So you would go to chargepoint.com, sign up for their system, they send you a little fob, and you use that fob, you swipe it, you pull the handle out, and you plug it into your car, and when it charges you, and that's the end of it. But I understand what you're saying, so we'll look in a little more detail about this.
Right, so if
for you.
I can come to town hall here and pick a paper up saying this is how we do this,
Yeah, we could do that.
and then I have it
Great.
on file
Yeah,
and
that's
something
that's
in
easy.
the town for code and ordinance,
Yeah.
whatever they have to do on that.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it.
an easy one.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mosh. Mr. McGavery?
Good evening, Mr. Supervisor. Before I begin, I just have some documentation. Before I begin, I would like to hand the board and the clerk some documentation I'm going to reference tonight. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Good evening. I'm only here tonight to talk about my lawsuit, nothing else. I am the plaintiff in the lawsuit seeking to recover the payment of legal fees to the supervisor. I wasn't here on March 16th. I did see the meeting and watch comments made about that litigation that were not true and incorrect. I'm here to correct that record. On November 17, 2021, I watched 3 board members of this town who had just lost their elections by more than 600 votes each pass a resolution to reimburse the supervisor for legal fees he spent defending himself for actions he took before he was supervisor. The amount of that reimbursement is a staggering $66,000. That just looked wrong.
Oh, my God.
The supervisor's bill has been running since he first took office, and this was the first time it had ever been presented for reimbursement to the town. There were no invoices shared with the public. A failed attempt to get reimbursement from the town insurance carrier had never been disclosed to the public. A complete history of that effort was withheld from the town board and the public on the night of the vote. These are not frivolous issues. None of this sat right with me as a resident taxpayer of this town. Why was this request for legal fees never brought before the town until after the election? Where were the invoices? Why didn't the town board wait to see them and the complete history of the rejection of the legal fee claim by the town's carrier before voting? Didn't the taxpayers of this town deserve that respect? Apparently not. That was not a frivolous issue. So I started my lawsuit. I wanted answers to those questions. I also knew that a newly elected town board was going to be sworn into office on January 1st, 2022. I wanted the legal issue preserved for the review of that body. This was my litigation. I made the decisions I made. I stand by them. The alternative was to remain silent in the face of the payment of public dollars made by a town board who had just decisively rejected by the taxpayers of this town by their political ally and leader. Whether you like my decision or not, they deserve respect. On March 16, 2022, the supervisor made a statement about my case, which was not true in any respect. The supervisor must have forgotten that everyone is entitled to his own opinion, and no one is entitled to his own set of facts. I'm here to correct that record. When I started my lawsuit, my lawyer and I agreed that we would defer to the judgment of the newly elected town board as to how the litigation was to be conducted. We did not wish my lawsuit to interfere with any decision made by that board. We understood that the new board would take a hard look at what happened on November 2021 and make some decisions to how that would have happened, to make some decisions as how to what happened would be addressed. I did not want to stand in the way of any decision by this board. My litigation was started to give this board that chance. I know that nothing has happened in my lawsuit until the new town board made a decision as how to want to proceed, except that my lawyer filed an amended complaint on February 28, 2022. On March 4, 2022, I received a phone call from my lawyer. He said that the town board wanted to continue to look at the town's carrier for relief, and that the town wanted me to discontinue my lawsuit so it could do so without the threat of litigation. I asked him, how could we do this without losing the right to make my argument in court if I felt the need to do so in the future? He said we could file discontinuance of action without prejudice. We filed the discontinuance shortly thereafter. I have brought you each a copy of that document, which I passed out before I started, and I'm giving a copy to the clerk for the public record. Madam Clerk, I want you each to read the last statement of the document as I read it out loud. And it states, in the discontinuance, the filing of this discontinuance shall not constitute an omission of any sort and shall be without prejudice to the plaintiff commencing a later action relating to the facts and circumstances of this discontinued action. As you can see, I didn't quit my litigation. Nothing in that document can prevent me from starting a litigation tomorrow. You didn't win, Mr. Supervisor. The issue's not going away. The town board will conduct its investigation, it will make a report, and hopefully the taxpayers of this town will get some answers. Now, I did get some answers with respect to the invoices supporting the supervisor's claim for reimbursement. I filed a FOIL on March 3rd, 2022. I just got the response on March 25th, 2022. I have a copy of each of you, which was included in that packet. And I also, again, I gave it to the town clerk so she can make it part of this record. I want anyone who wants to see exactly how taxpayer money was spent by the same lame duck board on the evening of November 17, 2021, to have the opportunity to do so. The first thing that you will notice is that all of these bills were addressed to the supervisor personally at his home address. None of these invoices were presented to the town, nor were they presented on November 17, 2021, when the lame duck town board voted to pay them.
I thought we weren't calling names. We weren't calling names. Yeah.
That's on the name.
It's a point of order.
You know, it's really.
Yeah, that is-
Okay, all right.
Finish what you got to
That's
say.
derogatory.
Finish
You
what
said
you got to
it
say,
3
Mr.
times.
McGarry, because you're trying to be clever here.
No,
Go
no,
on.
no, no, Mr. Supervisor.
Let him speak.
I say go on.
We've let many
I say
other
go
people
on.
speak, just let them speak.
Speak.
Lame duck is just a descriptive term. It's perfectly okay for him to use the term.
Listen.
So, and
I have some terms that I
hear you
Oh, here we go.
sit up here
I
and talk
understand.
about giving people due access to the microphone and
Finish speaking.
discussing, and you're sitting here
Supervisor,
grunting
point
through
of
his
order.
presentation.
Yeah.
No.
That's extremely rude.
He's making a lot of false statements there,
Wow.
Mr.
Let the
Cassidy.
man talk.
Finish, Mr. McGarry.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Management is needed.
These are the facts the taxpayers of this town deserve to know. And please indulge me, I'm almost done. The second thing is the hourly rate. On December 15, 2021, the same town board members who voted to pay these invoices without seeing them, at least not seeing them on the record, voted to fund the same law firm to represent Mr. Albra in his litigation, in my litigation against Mr. Albra and the town board and the town controller. They did so at an hourly rate of $3.75. I think it's fair to say that this was the value that those town board members put on services rendered by the law firm. Now compare that determination to the invoices serving as the basis for their vote to reimburse the supervisor's legal fees. The hourly rates in those invoices exceeded the approved rate of $3.75 an hour, in some circumstances $150 per hour. I have sat down with these invoices. If the town board had voted to reimburse the supervisor the December rate, the amount reimbursed would have been $375, not between $4.75 and $5.25 an hour. That would have been a savings of over $11,000 to the town, if that was negotiated. Even if we can't agree as to whether or not reimbursement was proper or not, I think we can agree that paying $55,000 rather than $66,000 would have been better for the town. And that's my point. The prior town board just did not do their job. They didn't do the math, they didn't look at the complete record of denial, which I now provided this board and the public. I had made copies for the board, the town clerk, and the public. The missing record was a thorough legal analysis as to why the town should not have reimbursed the supervisor's legal fees. The town board didn't ask for the rest of the record before they voted on it. They did not care. And as I said, the board just did not do their job. All of this is my opinion. You can agree with it, and I will respect your decision, your opinion. All I ask is that you respect mine as well. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Anybody would like to speak? Anybody else like to speak?
Yeah, I'd like to speak. I'd also like to know if, well, I suppose I could wait for Kenya. as a
Introduce
wrap-up.
yourself, Ken.
My name's Kenneth M. Stenger. I'm Mr. McCavery's attorney. Mr. McCavery's able to speak for himself, and he has. I wasn't here on March 16th. It must have been very convenient for the supervisor and Councilwoman Daniele, at least by what I was able to view from the TV or the tape. I'd like to address each of you as on a personal privilege
Just
basis.
answer the board.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the board, but I'm also looking at a member of the board. And first, I'd like to address Councilman Daniele, who at the close of that meeting launched a very specific personal attack on my integrity and my professionalism and my reputation as an attorney. And it was kind of a little bit like tonight when she smirked during the entirety of a citizen, Mr. McCavery, speaking to you about things you said about him 2 weeks ago, and the way you smirked as well, sir, Mr. Supervisor. So I watched that, and I thought it must have been very convenient that I wasn't there, but I'm here tonight. And I would like to address my first comments to Councilwoman
Address the
Daniele.
board, Mr. Stenger.
I'd like to address
the board.
I will address my comments to the entire board about the conduct of Councilwoman Daniele. That's what I'll do. And it's going to take probably a little bit more time than you would wish, but then again, you took plenty of time dissecting me. So I watched what Councilwoman Daniele did to my reputation, or attempt to, and I'd seen this before. And there was lots wrong with that. The first thing that's wrong with that is this is the way anybody who doesn't agree with Councilman Daniele gets talked to in this room. When we, and Mr. Supervisor, when you make a point of saying we are the most open town in the county encouraging different points of view. Well, if you have a point of view here that doesn't agree, this is how you get spoken about. The second thing, I am sorry, my phone is ringing. The second thing that was wrong here, sorry, excuse me. The second thing that was wrong here was this. Ms. Daniele made a threat to my job. She made a threat to my ability to earn a living. She made a threat to my reputation as an attorney. And it's okay in that level for me. But there are people in this town that will no longer come here to speak freely because they are afraid of the retaliation. I spoke to people. I spoke to my client, Sharon Herring. What did you think? And they all said the same thing. There's no sense going down there and talking to them because it doesn't work with Councilwoman Daniele. And that's bad. That's bad when people are afraid to come here and talk because of a fear of retaliation, a fear of insult, a fear of intimidation, and quite frankly, the fear of the setup, because I'm quite certain that as soon as I'm done, we'll have a member of the audience come in and clean up. So, but there's a third thing here that was wrong with what Councilwoman Daniele did that evening, and that is that she did it to me. I have resources. Most folks that come up here have hopes. I come up here always in good faith. I don't insult anybody. I don't get sarcastic. I come here to speak for a client, or I come here to speak as a taxpayer. And I believe I should receive the respect that I would give to any of you, as anyone else should. But Ms. Daniele doesn't do that. She wants to file a bar complaint. She wants this entire town board to vote as town policy to file a bar complaint against me because I represent clients in matters involving this town. Well, that's wrong, and it's actionable. I've consulted with counsel. It is actionable, and there's a one-year statute of limitation. Now, I don't think anyone here should worry that I would ever think of suing the town board to recover damage from any of the vacuous viciousness that occasionally comes out of Councilwoman Daniele's mouth. But there is a one-year statute. If I or somebody else comes to me and says, look, this is a problem, this was said about me, a lie was said about me, I'll be back. And I will again ask you for a retraction.
Mr. Stenger, what lie are you referring to?
I'm referring specifically to the last time I'm specifically referring to the last time I was here when I said to Councilwoman Daniele, who took great affront, did the head tossing and the smirking, that she said that Sharon Herring was suing the town, and that as a consequence, she was not able to be, should not be considered to be a member of the ZBA, which of course is not the case. She's not suing the town. I asked her to retract that statement. She would not.
Well, Mr. Stenger, let's just stay on your...
Well, let's stay on mine. Mine is plain and simple.
What you said...
When she spoke...
She said a lie about you. What is that lie?
I didn't say she said a lie about me. What I said was she said a lie about other people. And what I will also say is that her comment about the half-truth, the conflict of interest, the allegations of fact that in some fashion, my representation of Mr. McCavery, I will finish.
Give me an example of what you're referring to.
What you generally have, sir...
Sir, you're making an allegation.
You're going to let me... Is this your speech or mine? Because I can sit back. We can do this all night. I am not Dominic. So why don't you let me finish? Please, sir.
You're saying something...
You're going to let me finish or not?
I'm going to let you finish.
Thank you very much.
But you're making allegations without saying what those allegations are. So you said she lies, and you're not saying what she lied about.
You know what? Can I ask the attorney, am I allowed to address this board or not?
Well, of course you're allowed to address the board.
Thank you. Then can I ask, be able to do this? I didn't realize I'm in a debating session with you.
I didn't hear the rest of what you said, counsel. Can you
You
finish?
you can go watch the video, then you'll see.
Counsel, can you just repeat what you said?
So when we
'cause I
get to
didn't
this
hear it.
final place here.
I'm asking him what his
Yeah.
allegations are. That's all I'm
No,
asking.
no,
No,
gonna
I'm
tell you
asking the
this.
counsel to repeat himself because we pay him.
I will repeat myself.
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to our counsel.
Mr. Gallo?
So the question was...
Can you speak into the mic, please, so we can hear you?
Sure. The question was, are you allowed to address the board? My answer was, yes, of course you're allowed to address the board.
Do I do it with or without interruption?
Well, if it's a reasonable interruption for a point of clarification that doesn't prevent you from effectively
I did
providing
not.
your comments, I think that it's not unreasonable for the board.
Then let me try to answer your question. At the end, during the middle of the section, I didn't write this down, but she spoke about a conflict of interest because I was involved in a litigation with the Herrings and now with Mr. McCavery. She spoke of half-truths. She spoke of... There were a number of allegations, all of which went to the heart of my reputation as an attorney in this community and in this county. I ask you to just go ahead and watch it. I can tell you I did. I watched it with another attorney. Another attorney made very clear to me it was actionable. That means it was defamatory. I'm not here to argue the case. I'm here to just say that that shouldn't happen to anyone. It happened to me. I have something I can do or say about it, but it shouldn't happen to anybody. And it does, and it happens repeatedly from that chair. So now I'd like to kind of move on from there, Supervisor, to you and me.
Thank you, Ken.
Your comments, I've enjoyed and engaged in a political and personal relationship with you for about 15 years. I've watched you grow. I've watched you become a leader. I've watched you now recently remember where you grew from. Forget where you grew from. So I think that my comments to you, sir, is that you staged your comments about this litigation as something between you and me. Although you did refer to me as a local lawyer, there's not a person in this town didn't know who you were talking about. The phone was ringing off the hook before you stopped talking. And I think that's really a mistake between you and me and the town, because I think it's not about you and me. It's about the cases as they present themselves. And I think that you should know. You can sit there and shake your head, but I get to speak because, you know what? I wasn't here when you did all the speaking. You got to be uninterrupted saying your story about me. Now, I would appreciate the same courtesy to allow me to say my story, not about you, but about those cases. In your world, you win everything. In my world, I'm just a lawyer representing the clients. When you started your lawsuit in 2019, and you shut down the Herring family's dream of a rezone, those people were hurt. Those people were afraid. They didn't know what to expect. They asked me to continue my litigation with you to protect them until they got their approval. They got their approval. And when they got their approval, the litigation was still continuing. In fact, their complaint had been dismissed, and in fact, your complaint to have their litigation declared a, what's the word you like to use, frivolous litigation, had also been dismissed. And in fact, everything was up on appeal. Well, when they got their approval, the litigation, from their point of view, was no longer required. They discontinued. You discontinued. But the truth is that the litigation continues because there's still a claim that what you did was what you did. There's still an argument with you that it's frivolous, but there's no court that has ever said that. Then you talk about Mr. McCavery. And I was there that night, and as a person, a taxpayer in this town, it was, or just, let me just say, a person with two eyes. It was very clear to me that the three people on that board who had just lost their elections by 600, 700, and 800 votes apiece were going to do whatever it is you wanted to do, even though you weren't in the room. And so they did. They didn't care that no one had gone to the insurance company and asked for it first. They didn't care that no one explained the invoice to them. They just, they just voted yes. And that's fine, because that was their opinion. That's what they thought was right that night. Other people thought what happened that night was wrong. Mr. McCavery wanted me to work with him to keep the issue alive until this new town board could look at it. Because clearly the town board that had voted to give you that money was not going to look at it objectively as to whether or not what they had done was in the best interest of the taxpayers. So I've done that. That's not a frivolous thing. I achieved my client's goals. That issue remains alive. It's now in front of your board to determine what to do with it. That was my goal. That's not frivolous. Then, of course, we have your comments about Pleasant Valley. So while you're talking about Pleasant Valley with a Fishkill lawyer, it's again, you and me, shouldn't be you and me. But you bring up Pleasant Valley. Sure, I sued over in Pleasant Valley to make the point that an appointed judge had been appointed improperly. Sure, there was risk for me in taking that stand. I will say that the judge denied the application, at the same time made clear I suffered no conflict of interest in making the argument. But the argument had been made. And now, the most important part was the people in that town heard that argument. And so when the election came, that appointed judge didn't get elected. And that's what we do. We get heard. My clients get heard. This issue about the salary, about the legal fees, it's here. People know. They're making their own opinion. But you know, it's difficult for me, Supervisor, because even if I'm doing something that I know is right for the town, I get the same response from you, that this is frivolous, that this is politics. Oh, you used to be the chairman 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And so I close on the last thing. Because I think if you don't have citizens who are willing to come in and say something is wrong here, do something about it, and you don't listen to them, you're not open to them because your own private goals say no, then you're doing a disservice to yourself and this town. And I would just remind you of one final example. And it doesn't involve litigation, it just involved me coming here as a citizen. January 29, 2020, your town board hired FEMA to do secret work, to do work that required a licensed engineer to do it. And two of your board members, including Ms. Daniele, said, I need more information. Didn't happen. 3-2 vote, bang, they're appointed. I came to this town board more than once saying, you don't have a licensed engineer in that organization. They can't do our secret work. They can't do our MS-40 work. If you need an engineer, they don't have one. They're not qualified. And there was hostility, Mr. Chairman, Supervisor, hostility. Because I raised that issue because it was politically sensitive and we both know it. But in the end, I was right. On January 12th, 2021, the University of the State of New York wrote a letter to me, which I know that you must have seen. And it says, please be advised, we have completed our investigation of your complaint. And they've spoken to the person who said they had the engineering license, and they didn't.
Wait a second. Mr. Gaba, that letter was, let me see that letter before we go further, because the town attorney reviewed that letter and found out not to be complete. So let me see if I got the right letter here.
I'll tell you what letter.
Let me see the letter that you're giving me, because we reviewed that letter and that was not the facts. Bring it over here.
Stop.
Give me the letter.
Give a copy to everybody.
The previous, let me see what this letter
This
says.
was mailed to me, I take it on face value.
Who mailed it to you?
Investigator David Buckley.
You have the letter? You have the envelope that it came in?
Not with me, sir, but I can call the FBI, maybe they can investigate.
No, it's important because we reviewed this letter. Investigation.
Now, if you have
Mr. Gaba,
something about
the previous town attorney investigated this letter and found it not to be founded.
You may very well be right, I don't know.
Yeah, so is he allowed to come up here?
Listen, this is the letter I got in the mail from them. If you're thinking I faked the letter to...
I didn't say you faked the
you
letter.
gotta be
I didn't
kidding.
say you faked the letter, but do you have the envelope that it came in?
No, I didn't bring an envelope.
You don't have the envelope.
Why would I have the envelope?
Thank you, Mr. Stanger.
That's right. I'm guilty. I threw the envelope out of my secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Stanger.
So the bottom line here is, sir, I ask that we return to a civility in this town hall, that we not lash out at each other, particularly when the other is not in the room. I have no political interest in your success or failure, but I have an opinion. I thought what happened with that money was wrong. I have the ability to express that opinion, and I ask you to respect my opinion as I do yours. And if you can't do that in this town hall, where else are you supposed to be able to do it? That's the question I have. And I hope you will, before you grab the microphone, launch into a speech about whatever else you think I did wrong, because I'm going to tell you here, I'm not leaving. If you come in, if you want to have a problem tonight and have a debate tonight about my character, I can promise you, I'll be right at this microphone in the middle of your speech. I would be careful, sir. Let us try to, please, understand the tone I am employing here. This is not an attack on you. This is very much a defense of my reputation. It's really a defense of the people in this town and the governance they want. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else like to speak about any town-related item?
Kenya Gadsden, resident, Fishkill. So I'm here tonight. I'm here tonight, and I'm happy to be here tonight because tonight was impossible for me. But when I see the possibilities to address this board and to speak on behalf of, or inform, I'm going to say, the residents of Fishkill of the truths and facts, then I gain strength. And so what I gained this evening is strength to come before this board today. And so I want to say that at the last town board meeting, I presented to Fishkill and to this board the facts on all of the cases that started from 2019. I will not bore you by going through a 5-page report again. What I will repeat is that in December of 2019, an illegal board meeting was going to commence. Illegal. The supervisor allowed that to occur. Okay? I will say that I am thankful to Ozzy Albra, the citizen, who stood up on our behalf to stop the illegal meeting. The meeting was not intended to be personal in nature to the people that had cases to be reviewed, but the process should always be respected. And so that illegal meeting was stopped. So those that are advocating for an illegal meeting to continue, one must question the integrity of what the basis is of supporting such illegal action. Right? That's factual. Everything that I presented to the people of Fishkill, I presented in facts. My character, and I shall never be moved. I did not win my election. I lost by 500. I could have lost by 1,000, and I think I said that once before. My commitment to the people of Fishkill, whether you voted for me or not, still remains because it existed before I got here. I will not ever stoop to name calling, right? All this lame duck board and all this name calling that people are doing to antagonize you and bring you away from the key point that exists. We are advocating for an illegal board meeting. We are advocating that it is right to use the town's money to support lawsuits that we thought was frivolous. I thought it was frivolous, and I'm going to say that I don't know what the current number is, but I can guarantee you that that number currently probably exceeds $50,000, right? So whatever the point was or the basis of trying to regain this money, right, it is now probably going to match or exceed what we reimbursed back to Mr. Albra. It was not my opinion, to give him back his money. I said to this board, I said to this town, and paperwork will prove, right, court papers, court documents, that we received appropriate counsel from Mr. Nugent, who laid down the law and the facts. And based on that information, I made my decision. I may like Ozzy, but the rules and regulations stand regardless of who is before me. So no one will challenge my integrity, my basis, and I will not be moved because you want to say I lost an election. Those people who, in my opinion, who lose elections, who weren't committed to their cause to begin with, they go away. Kenya Gadsden was here before, and Kenya Gadsden is here to stay. So I just want to challenge everyone here and those that are watching to please, if you don't believe me, look at all the court cases, look at all the facts, and you will see that what I say to you is coming from the facts. Opinions are one thing, and there were people that got up here and gave their opinion. So I want you to separate opinion from robust practices to policy. So when I sat in the seat of the board members, we created policy so that robust practices would not interfere on whether I give this department A or this department B something. It would already be in black and white on why someone deserves to get what they get. People of Fishkill, I am challenging you not to be divided by this. I will say it again, whether you are a Democrat, whether you are a Republican, whether you are NOP, you are a resident of Fishkill. Let's not be divided by this party affiliation, and we should stick to the facts. I also want to say that I think the person before me was going to mention my name. And so when I read my report the last time, the names of each person was listed on my report. So therefore, I had to modify that based on the reading of the rules. Everyone is in an uproar because my people need to say what they got to say because your people got to say what they got to say. But guess what? The rules are not being followed consistently, so thus the people before you will be inconsistent. That's what that is. Okay, that ain't personal. I didn't want to say anybody's name. I tried my level best to call people by Council 1, Council 2, Council 3, and anybody who looked at the report saw that I called Council 1, Council 2. So I stopped that because I didn't want to create confusion. I want to bring the people facts. If you sit in that seat now, you've been elected. Kudos to the 3 people who now sit there. You have a job to do. You are charged with that. But to continue this foolishness is unnecessary. The numbers will show that a lot of money is wasted. It was wasted to do this. So whatever the basis was to do it, whatever the opinion was of the person to retract it, they've done that. But they've done that on the backs of the people of Fishkill based on trying to prove their point, in my opinion. Okay? So I just want to make sure that everybody understands this. I also want to address what was addressed to Councilwoman Daniele, because she stands alone. But I always tell her that you are never alone as long as I have breath in my body, and that is the truth. And so she didn't accuse, she didn't slander anybody. The presentation will give you that, because that's the perception that people want to see you leave with, right? So she only suggested that it be discussed. So if I suggest that we discuss something, it doesn't mean that it becomes word or fact. And so therefore, to target her, because she has a difference of opinion, to kindly come down on her because she's vocal is a problem for me. So I'm here to tell you that when you come for her, you will come for me. And when you come for me, I will come correct with the facts. So she said, discuss it. It was no decisions made, there's no resolutions, but we should have a conversation as to why there's always a particular attorney behind all of these cases. There needs to be an end to this. We need to bury this today. And so I'm asking all the people that exist here tonight, I'm asking those that are at home to please tell them to stop this rhetoric. Let's move on with the business of Fishkill and get things done for the people here and stop this back and forth. Because if you come here to this podium and you're talking against stuff and not presenting the facts, I will get out my sick bed and I will come here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kenya. Anybody else want to speak about any town item? Okay. You good? All right, carry on. So what's up next here? So next up is supervisor comments and announcements. So I want to say thank you, Mr. Stenger, for coming today. I did receive your letter, and I've read it. After reading your concerns, I reviewed the town board meetings from November 17th, December 1st, and December 15th. Before that, I'd like to give the residents watching and sitting here some background. In December of 2019, as a private citizen, I sued the town and the previous town supervisor for illegally scheduling 2 public hearings. The suit was against the town, not any business or individual citizen. This case was heard in Dutchess County Court. I won in court, and I paid the legal fees out of my own pocket at no taxpayer expense. You heard earlier today from an individual saying I was being paid for my private lawsuit. That is not true. In 2020, the 2 applicants whose public hearings had been illegally scheduled each filed suit against me, which were combined in Westchester County. One of these applicants was represented by you, Mr. Stenger. In this lawsuit, you made a number of allegations against me for my actions as town supervisor. I made a motion to dismiss, and I won. The case was dismissed, and you do mention that the second part is still ongoing. The dismissal was appealed on November 8th, 2021. I made the updated filings to the court. It was at this time I asked the town board to reimburse my expenses for the second case only, in which I was the defendant, and not for my private suit, which I was the plaintiff. So this matter of reimbursement was placed on the agenda for November 17th, the first town board meeting after the November 8th election. There was a reason for the timing. November 17th was the first meeting after my filing on November 8th. At the November 17th town board meeting, you spoke, Mr. Stenger. You spoke representing your positions and opinions on the lawsuit. You spoke for 28 minutes, which I allow because I don't limit how long people can speak, unlike my predecessor. The contention here is that you wrongly and repeatedly claim that this lawsuit in Westchester County was against me as a private citizen, related only to my legal actions as a private citizen on December 30th, 2019. On November 17th, at 14 minutes, 17 seconds into the meeting, you said as much, and I'm going to quote you. All these allegations I made myself in connection with the lawsuits that I put together for my clients has to do with the event of that evening. And here's the problem, Mr. Stenger, it's not true. Let me refer to your own lawsuit the one that you filed against me in Westchester County, since it seems you need to be reminded about your own allegations. Remember, you said your allegations only related to my actions as a private citizen. You allege that I replaced the town engineer. Can a private citizen replace the town engineer? Anybody watching there, can you come to town hall and replace the town engineer? You allege that I replaced the attorney to the planning board. Can a private citizen replace the attorney of the planning board? So you watching on TV today, can you come here tomorrow and fire someone? I don't think so. You allege I failed to schedule public hearings. Can a private citizen schedule a public hearing? Of course not. The law is clear. You say the lawsuit was only about my actions as a private citizen. I'm sorry, but your actions speak much louder than that. The law says it doesn't matter if you say the suit against me is personal or officially. What matters is the allegation. And the town code is also clear. I was entitled to reimbursement under the town code because of the words that you wrote in your lawsuit. That's the law and those are the facts. You're entitled to your opinions on the law and the facts. And I'm no lawyer, Mr. Stenger, but so far, every judge has agreed with my opinion on the law and the facts. I was granted the temporary restraining order on December 2019 as a private citizen. Your lawsuit against me as town supervisor was dismissed by the court, and your most recent reaction was abandoned before a judge even had a case to rule against you. It's what you did in Westchester County in 2020 before the judge tossed your lawsuit. It's what you did for 28 minutes that night in November, Mr. Stenger, when you stood before the town board and argued that I shouldn't be reimbursed for the legal defense of a lawsuit that you filed, that yourself filed, in which you reached too far and made allegations about my official conduct, entitling me to that defense under town code. And most recently, it's what you did in December when you filed another lawsuit to stop that reimbursement carried by your own actions. And that lawsuit has now been discontinued, but only after the taxpayers had to at least foot probably $50,000 to date. The new town board members sitting here with me today were also skeptical about the merits of the reimbursement at the time of the resolution was adopted. After they took office, a new town attorney was hired, and an impartial firm from Albany was retained to handle the newest lawsuit. Based on that attorney's recommendation, even the new town board members authorized the attorney they hired to file a motion to dismiss. So you discontinue the suit, and you're entitled to offer any reasons doing so, but let the record reflect in your court filings. We requested sanctions against from the court, Mr. Stenger. In those court documents, you grossly misrepresented the truth and stated a number of false claims. We asked for sanctions in that filing. So let the record reflect that you only discontinued the lawsuit after those actions were requested. Again, you stated the reasons for doing so. You said so in your letter, and that's fine. But let the record reflect this whole picture, not just the bits and pieces of the picture which you kindly upon you. So, Mr. Stenger, I'd like to end all this.
Just repeat what you said about sanctions. That's really important. Can you say it? I thought I misheard you.
We were going to counter with sanctions.
No one ever said to me anything about sanctions.
Who said that? It was in the filing.
Didn't happen.
It was in our filing.
Didn't happen.
We didn't even get to that part. You dismissed it before we could even hear the case. I don't know how much longer we're going to waste time to litigate the past litigation. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have to correct the record when it's being misrepresented. I don't know how much more it's going to cost the taxpayers of Fishkill being in the position to foot the bill. I hope it just ends soon, but that's out of my reach. All I can do is exactly what I've done, and what I promise to do, tell the citizens of Fishkill the truth. As long as there's facts being misrepresented, as long as there's incorrect allegations being made, I'll continue to correct the record with facts. Because the residents of this town deserve nothing less than the absolute truth, and that's what you'll get from me. So to make this clear, I never asked for reimbursement for that private case that I stopped in an illegal meeting. Never. And that's what they're trying to say. They're trying to say that I'm asking for money for that first case. That's not true. And I thank the new town board members, I thank the new town attorney for recusing himself to get an impartial lawyer from Albany to basically agree with me. So that's all I got. I got a couple of nice things for supervisor comments. I've got Dutchess County median residential sales prices have increased from last year from $330,000 to $375,000. Even though the economy is slowing down everywhere else, the housing market here is pretty strong. The police department is going to have a DA National and Take Back Day. It's going to be Saturday, April 30th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Town of Fishkill Police Station. If you don't properly dispose of your old or unused prescription drugs in your home, they might find a home of a new one. So they'll take them and they'll protect the environment and dispose of them properly. Next one is, we got a nice letter.
Is that, let me ask you a question
Sure.
about that. Is that a drive-through, drop-off kind of thing, or how?
No, they're gonna have to go into the police station and
They've gotta
there's gonna be
go
a,
in.
there's gonna be a box where they drop that stuff off.
Okay.
Okay? I got an email from a citizen. Let's see, what's her name? Is Helen B. Dear Supervisor, my name is Helen. My husband and I have lived in Fishkill and our 2 boys since 2009. We want to write you to express our gratitude towards your leadership and our Fishkill Recreation Center. The director stepped up last fall when every single basketball program in the area had decided they were not going to have a winter season for 2021. Not only did he continue the Fishkill Rec Winter Hoops program, but also he had to coordinate with the practice courts throughout different school districts. As we can imagine, due to the overwhelming growing registration, different age groups all needed the winter basketball after losing the 2020 season due to COVID. We experienced some extremely positive organization through the Fishkill Winter Hoops, not only this season, but throughout the years. Sportsmanship education is one of the biggest. Mr. Mayetta has always sent out messages before the season to remind everyone the conduct of their sportsmanship. When there is an issue of such inappropriate behavior during the game of practice, he will remove everyone as well. This is important as children because they learn to do the right thing at an early age. The coaches Mr. Mayetta recruits are very encouraging and professional, and even though they are all volunteers, Mr. Reyes and Mr. Pavlovec family are our coaches. They were amazingly responsible by nurturing to our players. So, unlike other towns, the town of Fishkill stayed open. We kept the youth program going, and we kept the town hall open while most governments closed. Every town board meeting was here. I was always in this seat. The citizens had an opportunity to speak, and it worked out because the town of Fishkill is in pretty good fiscal shape. Our projects are getting done, and we're going to move forward now to the liaison reports, and I'll start with Councilwoman Daniele.
Thank you, Supervisor. For my liaison reports regarding the rec center, I attended card bingo again since last meeting, and I lost again, but I had fun playing with the new people. The rec center has co-hosted an egg hunt last Saturday with the Village of Fishkill and the library. I attended along with the supervisor and council members Istvan and Rai. It was really a nice event. There were approximately 500 children and their families that joined in the fun at the park, and it's just really nice to, when you listen to all of the rhetoric and the hatred tonight, to be a part of this is what our town is really about, and what it should be about, which is community and being there for the children and the families. So hopefully this kind of behavior will continue in the future. I just want to make sure to thank Jay and Lauren and Mary Ann, who may have been assisting the Easter Bunny that day, so she did a great job. And I'm sure Carmine will thank the Parks and Grounds and the employees in a minute. Mary Ann also put together a casino trip for May to resorts, which sold out in less than a day. They'll also be having a Cinco de Mayo event on May 5th. My water report is we have a few water-related issues on the agenda, which will finally be able to be resolved. We'll talk about them later. The supervisor has been working hard on resolving the Snook Road wellfield issues and should have information on that in the near future. The Village of Fishkill, I attended the Village of Fishkill meeting this past Monday with the supervisor, council members Istvan and Rai. We were invited to honor the 2 Village of Fishkill police officers who assisted the town of Fishkill Police Department during a shooting incident that previously occurred. We also presented them with proclamations for their service. At that meeting, the trustee board advised that the Wellesley Center Housing Project, which is the Church of the Nazarene, had withdrawn their request for a zoning change. They requested instead for a senior overlay for their project. That request did not receive a second and did not move forward. We want to thank the village trustees for listening to all of the residents and the board as well regarding this project. It's very much appreciated by everyone. The supervisor, councilmember Foreman, and I, along with Mayor Martin, attended the ShopRite ceremony to fight hunger and present proclamations to the 2 workers who raised the most money for the store, as well as raising $500 for the food pantry. Councilmember Rai joined us for that ceremony and presentation. It was really nice to be a part of the ceremony and to see all the hard work all the employees at ShopRite have done and continue to do. Regarding the planning board, our newly appointed planning board alternate could not make the last meeting. But he is here tonight, and with the board's permission, I would like to introduce him to the board and ask VJ to come forward, although after all of this, I'm not really sure he still wants to be on the planning board.
He can handle it.
Say his name and a few words about himself. So VJ, if you'd like to come up to the microphone, thank you.
This gentleman is our new zoning planning board alternate.
So he's, yeah, planning board alternate.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vijay Gopal. I'm here in Fishkill living since 2008. I have a permanent job, daytime job. I have a wife and a daughter who's studying pre-med in Stony Brook. It's been a pleasure to be on the board for the planning as an alternate member. Any questions for me I can take in? That's
Over
about
here, VJ, us.
That's about me.
Anybody? No. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome, yes, thank you.
Thank you for volunteering, VJ.
Thank you.
VJ.
Thank you.
Who's ready to turn on these questions? That was good. John? I'm sorry, yeah. Marlene.
Thank you, Councilwoman Daniele. I'm glad she always goes first because she really brings it all together for us. Just to reiterate a couple little things, that the Easter egg hunt was very successful, that the grounds crew did an awesome job. I noticed that I think they did the first cut of the year of any place I've seen. They cut the lawns and made sure they were all cleaned up and very nice. Village of Fishkill and Fishkill did a nice joint effort there. It was very fun to attend, and the hot dogs were very good.
Yes.
And thank you, Councilman Rye, for those hot dogs.
You're welcome.
He made them?
No. Thank you.
He bought them.
He bought them? All right. They taste better when someone else buys them.
Just,
I never got to pet the kangaroo.
Just an update on the human resources. I know I'm not the liaison, but I wanted to give an update that we have human resources. We updated the list from the civil service. We had 14 people on the list, and we had 4 responses as of 4 p.m. today. So that's a good sign. And actually, one of them was high on the list, so pretty exciting. We're moving forth with that. And one resident sent me an email about a missing sign that was missing on one of the streets for many, many years. The highway got on it right away and put it up, and the resident was so happy. Briar Ridge Drive, I'm glad you got your new sign.
Hold on. John?
I let Brian go, and then I might go back.
Well, already just to quickly touch on the Renegades, I had a conversation with our contact there, and I will be getting an email end of this week on the town board, the supervisor participating on April 19th home opener. So they'll be giving us the what, where, and how, and everything else to attend. We'll be having a follow-up meeting on the Fishkill Serves Game Day. We'll do that in the next couple of weeks to also make sure we have the what, where, and why about all of that, and to remind everyone that is the participation of the Renegades with the Fishkill Little League to collect food for the Fishkill Village of Fishkill Food Pantry. Also, they're going to be donating a percentage of the tickets that are sold that day to the Fishkill Food Pantry. And they're also creating links for websites so people can just make a monetary donation as well. And this is going to be quite a comprehensive thing, and they're going to do it every year. And so we should be very, very, very proud of that. And for that piece, we'll have Mayor Martin participating as well. It's only appropriate. I told everyone that we're going to be working on a drug presentation. The purpose of the drug presentation is to basically give everybody a status here in the town on what's going on as far as combating the scourge that still exists, no matter what is going on in society, who's invading, what country's invading what country, you know, how much you hate Washington. Right here, there's still a battle going on. And so we're going to be privileged to have the town of Fishkill, Detective Chorba, presenting along with the chief some very valuable information. I'm not going to get into it now because their bullet point presentation has yet to be developed. We will have the Sheriff's Department participating as well. The Sheriff's Department, and there are things that we're learning as John and I asked John to help me because he has a lot of experience at the county level to help me organize this, and it's been very helpful. The Sheriff's Department has developed recently a drug tip line, and these are things that we might as well share now because, you know, you need to know about this now. There's a drug tip line, 845-463-6040. And this is a confidential tip line. If you see something, you've heard see something, say something. Well, this is confidential, and it's going to be very important for people to know that because it helps also to combat the scourge that's out there. And there is also an email. So we might want to see if we can start and post that now.
We'll get that on the ego.
Another thing that we learned as we prepared for this, and so that's the sheriff's portion, which they'll be discussing a lot more, is we'll be getting into the county and what they are doing for services, treatment, and prevention. And there's, I don't know if people know, Jean Marie Niebuhr, the Deputy Commissioner, Director of Community Services, Dutchess County Department of Behavioral and Community Health. It's a mouthful. I don't know how you put that on a business card. But she is so powerful and magnificent in the services that are out there. So we're going to go from how we're fighting it on the criminal level, what the county is doing in that regard, to how to provide services. And I want this done on 5/18 because we need to just get that information out there, especially before summertime, and there's, you know, all kinds of mischief. One of the things that the county has done, and this needs to be shared now as well, is they developed a app which is amazing, and you just go to your app store, wherever you get your apps, Dutchess Help. And on here is just everything, suicide prevention, Narcan training, you can schedule that. It's a valuable piece that everybody should know about. And to top everything else, Will Truitt, Doug McCool, and Yvette Valdez-Smith, they were very, very instrumental in organizing this, and they're going to be here participating. And Yvette Valdez-Smith, really wonderful, and she's going to have a kind of a special announcement at the end of the presentation. It's going to be very powerful and very, very good, and I'm very proud of that. What else? I think I've eaten up enough time, so we'll just, I'm very grateful for everybody coming out for the veterans today, too.
The road.
Oh, yes, okay. There's a certain individual that you wanted to dedicate a section of Route 9 with, a Civil War veteran that is buried in Fishkill Cemetery. His name eludes me right now.
Elijah Briggs would it be, right?
Yes. Yeah, okay.
He's a Medal of Honor recipient.
And so you had asked me to find out how Wappinger got it done. Wappinger asked Sue Serino, Senator Serino, and our legislative council person, to Kieran Layler, to get it done. They need to basically submit a bill and just get it passed in the legislature, and it goes through the process, and it should be okay. So Kieran and Sue both got that done for Wappinger. So what we need to do, actually, is what they want from us is basically a resolution that the board wants this to happen. Yeah, put it on for the next one, and whatever the later.
Oh, you're fine.
It's the will of the board to have that done, then you call Sue, tell her that, actually email her, and I'll give you the information.
We'll take care of it, yeah.
And then they'll just act on it, and get it done. So it's just the will of the board, let them know, and we're good to go. What?
Wow, things move a little slowly through Albany.
I'm sorry.
No, I understand that, but because we're going to lose her as a senator, they're saying just move on it quickly.
Gotcha.
So
We'll have it at the next meeting.
They're going to push it through.
Do we have to, besides the resolution, Mr. Gavin, do we have to give anything else to them, or that'd be enough?
There's a particular application for special legislation, which has to be filled out, and then you need cover letters to go with your resolutions. But it's nothing the board needs to do. We can put together that.
So once we pass the resolution, you can handle the rest?
Well, I'll need your signature, but that aside,
That's
yes.
not a problem. Okay. So we're good? It'll be on the agenda? I'll give this gentleman a moment, please. Is that okay with you guys?
Sure.
Of course.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Hathorn.
And I didn't recognize you earlier, and I apologize.
Not a problem. I want to stay out of the limelight. I'm from the town of Wappinger, from the Wappinger Veterans Advisory, working with Dr. Thurston. And we were I was one of the people who was instrumental in that Wappinger Veterans Memorial Highway project. What I did first is I went to the different sites that I really wanted to see those signs at, like the southern border, the northern border. We talked to the people in the area to find out how they felt about, like, the Subaru dealer and N&S, see how they felt about having a sign down there. Then we went to the county and asked them what their thoughts were. We got a resolution through the Wappinger Town Board. That was kind of key. That was pretty much the first thing. And then went to Lydia Biscup, who's...
She said,
Yeah.
send it to me, you know. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Sue and Lydia both got a hold of Kieran, and they made it happen.
Yeah,
So It's a great thing. And
That's it in a nutshell, right there.
Yeah, they told me that we would have a brown sign with yellow lettering, and it's totally unusual. Hopefully, you'll get the same thing, and it's remarkable.
Outstanding.
While I'm up here, if I may.
Sure.
April 16th, we are having a 5K run walk. It's going to be on the rail trail. It's going to start at Lake Walton and Van Wyck Lake Road. That trailhead there, it'll go to Didell, hook a U-turn, and come right back. That turns out to be 3.1 miles, or 5K. It's dedicated to Joseph Ennisser, who I'm sure everybody in this room and everybody watching has heard of. He was a volunteer with the town of Wappinger, and he received I'd say less than a week before he died, he was acclaimed. He was recognized and feted by the town. So the Wappinger Veterans Advisory, we are running it with the town, and all profits, we're getting a break on the cost of the people who are coming from Cold Spring to run it for us, so it's being professionally run. We call it a run walk because scooters, strollers, walkers, everybody's invited. And
Golf cart, could I ride?
well, they don't want automated equipment on that rail trail, so.
Do you have a flyer?
We have it on, actually, believe it or not, the flyers are appearing in Pojo, just about every day of the week.
When you're done, can you speak to him, and we'll put it out in our town email system?
I believe we already spoke.
We got one already? That'll go out Friday, it'll go out to all the residents of Fishkill.
Fantastic. It's going to be great. The remarkable thing about it is that all the money over and above registration, the costs, and the costs are pretty moderate, will go to help veterans. Now, when I started the WVA, I wanted to help veterans. I wanted the word to get out to veterans all over. Now, Adam Roach, Tommy Mash, really a big help. Dr. Thurston is fantastic as well. And this is one reason why I don't like public speaking, because I ramble. I want to help veterans. I want to help veterans who need help, like maybe a new lawnmower, maybe while the husband is away or the wife is away, he needs a babysitter, she needs a babysitter. I want to put the word out that that's what we want to do. Two afternoons a week, I go to Castle Point and I help veterans fill out the paperwork. I work with the DAV, Disabled American Veterans. I help veterans put the paperwork together. Like if a guy has PTS, it's something he's sat on for 50 years and didn't do anything about. And because he was proud, because he didn't want to stand out, because many reasons. So we've got to put together a case for that veteran to prove that he saw this and he saw that, he was there, Agent Orange or something else. That's what I'm doing for the veterans. I'm not alone. There's a lot of people doing work for the veterans, like Adam. He's remarkable. So that's what my WVA is all about, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I hope I didn't ramble.
Kevin, you're great.
It was an honor to have you here and all the other veterans and support
Thank you very
staff.
much.
This is pretty
And
neat.
I'll be speaking with Brian about the hometown heroes.
Yes.
And that's a fantastic.
Yeah, you can speak to me.
That lady there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
She's dealing
Yeah.
with that.
Great. Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Okay. Well, first up on the floor here for discussion is creating an avenue for town official. Oh, I didn't even get to you. You skipped. Are you done? Are you done?
I'm done.
He's done. I'm sorry, John.
That's okay.
Okay, so I also attended that, our initial drug prevention meeting up at the legislative chambers with Councilman Rye and our police chief. Thank you for him for driving up to Poughkeepsie for that. Again, that presentation is going to be at our May 18th meeting. I attended a presentation at the Knights of Columbus in Hopewell. Topic, our children's education. I also attended both of those ceremonies at ShopRite, as Councilwoman Danielle indicated. I represented the town supervisor at a meeting, an event with the Village of Fishkill Business Association, and I also represented the town supervisor giving a proclamation to Gary Namath, who retired from the town highway department. Also had 2 very productive meetings with our town controller and our building inspector. I'm done.
Very good. Very good. Okay. First up for discussion is discussion of creating an avenue for the town of Fishkill veterans to discuss their issues and concerns. I'm a veteran, Carmine's a veteran, and prior to me myself taking office, the 8 years before that, there was very little, if anything, done for veterans. So before we go forward to discuss this, I just want to let you know what I've done with Louise and what we're going to do in the future with the new board members. We reintroduced town ceremonies for veterans and Memorial Day. We collaborated with Dutchess County to dedicate 3 county roads for Fishkill service members killed in Vietnam. So we have 3 county roads. The first one is Red Schoolhouse Road. You'll see the brown signs on both sides of 52 and 9D. That sign is named after Lieutenant Bruce. He was killed in combat in a pretty famous firefight. He earned the Silver Star and Purple Heart. Baxter Town was named after Corporal Smith. During the ceremony with the county executive and the Congressman Maloney, I found his brother. His brother still lives in the town of Fishkill, and he was our guest of honor. And it was very heartwarming. He told the story of how he went to visit his father, who was also a Marine, at Castle Point, and he would drive down that road, and now his brother signs there as a dedication. The third road was Osborne Hill Road. We named after Private Garlow. He was a Marine, so was Mr. Smith. He was a Marine. He was killed in a grenade attack. All these guys were under 22 years old. I think the lieutenant was 22, 23, and the 2 corporals were like 19 years old, very young. Prior to that, when COVID hit, me, Greg, and some family members, we went and we found the 2 graves of Lieutenant Bruce and Corporal Smith. They both laid to rest at the Fishkill Rural Cemetery, and we did a little video memorial for him, for both of them. It was very sad. We also are going to honor our Revolutionary War history with the statue of Chief Nimham. The statue has been completed. It's getting polished up. I'm just waiting for the rain to stop because we can't do the foundation until it dries out. So I know people see the rock there with no plaque, and somebody called about the flag being frayed. It was my intention to do everything at once. We replaced the flag at the site to take care of those concerns. But once it dries out a little more, it's going to take about 2 weeks. Once we know when we get the pedestal in, we're going to announce a ceremony to dedicate the site to Chief Nimham, one of our first veterans. We prioritize veterans and seniors with our COVID-19 supply distribution, including delivering personally test kits to the residents of Fishkill myself. We honored our Civil War Medal of Honor recipient, Elijah Briggs. That was last year. I did that with the chairwoman of the American Daughters of the American Revolutionary War, Ms. Van Buren. We continue the process of expanding our town war memorial. I'm working with Councilman Rye to put up a tablet with a replica of Washington's sword. I've attended numerous events at Castle Point to support the VA. We even did a car show to benefit a family of an emergency responder who was also a veteran. And I just want to follow up on Castle Point. For the last 2 years, the town has been working with Castle Point to supply water to that facility. Buildings get old, they deteriorate, and sometimes you got to replace them. Now, we all know that we don't want the VA out of our area, but we also want our veterans to live in a nice, clean room with clean drinking water. So for the last 2 years, I've been working with our project managers in the VA to connect the VA water supply to our water supply in our Roundabout Water District. That's going on, and if that happens, I honestly don't think the VA is going to leave the area. This is going to be a pretty big project and cost a lot of money, and hopefully when we get this to the board members will support me hooking in Castle Point to give our veterans clean water to drink. So people are worried, they should be worried, but a lot of these old buildings, they're 75, 80 years old, their water supplies are getting dried up or pipes are breaking, and there's a lot of problems in these old facilities that need to be upgraded. So Fishkill is going to do its part and work to get them water, and hopefully the town board will approve that. So we're doing a lot for veterans already. I want to continue to do more with veterans. Like Brian said, maybe we form a committee. We name the road after Mr. Briggs, and so we'll discuss the creating of an avenue for the town of Fishkill veterans to discuss their issues and concerns. So Brian, you're up.
Well, I think it's, what you're talking about, the deterioration in, that's news to me as far as supplying water. Obviously, who's going to deny that? But whatever is going on out there, whatever happens, it's just going to be very, very, very important that, Virgil, can you come up? That Virgil is a gallant man. We started talking about doing something a while ago, and you said you would love to get involved. And I'm just wondering, because we want to keep this loose, we don't want to obligate anyone to a long term or make it into some sort of formalized structure where, it just gets bogged down in paperwork or whatever. But I'm just wondering if, as the word gets out now that we need veterans in the town of Fishkill to volunteer, we can create not an application like they would be to be on the zoning board or something, but maybe a registration, just a simple thing like, yes, I am a veteran, I live da-da-da-da-da, and I would like to participate. I wonder if we can do that and send, and put that type of thing on the webpage, and see if we can generate some interest out there. Aside from that, I know we can do blast, we can do other things, but I think the point of the matter is right now is just to get a group of volunteers together to work with us so we can get out in a formalized way and hear in-depth more information, and then we can take it from there on what actions, what other organizations we should get involved in that are close by, et cetera, et cetera. We'd expect, input from you because you're so connected with a lot of them, and certainly with Kevin out there. But that's a first step that I would think, and I just open it up because I know we all care about the veterans, and if somebody has a better idea of how to get them involved, please enlighten me. But that's a step I'm thinking.
No, I think I'd have to think about this a little bit more. But I think if something was simple, maybe something you met quarterly with a little group, an advisory group, that maybe touches bases on a lot of things that affect veterans, how we can help veterans,
Right.
things that are happening within the town, learn from the county. But I think it should be simple, maybe something that would meet on a quarterly basis, and just something fun and exciting, nothing too complicated.
All right. Can I ask, that's exactly right. Is Mr. Roche still here? Okay.
No, he already left.
I'm just wondering, and I heard this anecdotally, are there funds from the state for veterans and funds from the county that if we were organized, we could be capturing some of these funds for the town? Have you heard anything along those lines, or am I?
I could not speak to that specifically.
Yeah.
Unless it was tied to some state program.
Would be something also to research, and just find out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of like what Councilman Istvan said about kind of starting off slow.
Sure.
Because we haven't had this type of mechanism before. Kind of slowly bring people into the fold, word gets out.
Yep.
That they're starting to, that we're starting to congregate in that manner. And from there, it can have kind of more of an organic feel. Towns that have had these established, much like town of Wappinger, and even the work I do over with East Fishkill, they've had a little more time to kind of work out some of the initial kind of growing pains, and I will gladly reach out with counterparts there to, provide as soft a transition or build-out as possible.
Would you, mind, I don't know, I guess we anoint you as first member of the committee.
Let Louise say what she wants to say, and then we'll come back to you, Myra.
I just wanted to say, I think you said it before, Supervisor, but you're a veteran, and so is Councilman Isfan, and thank you both for your service. So maybe one of the two of you could be more involved in whatever it is that we decide to do, since you are a veteran. And I don't know about the whole committee thing. I think maybe starting out with information, getting it out there. I mean, we have a really good eGov with all of the lists of all the names and phone numbers of everything that we've talked about tonight, and just go from there. Because I know in the past we haven't had luck with big type committees or finding people. So maybe we should just start with information and then see if anybody responds to it and take it from there.
And I think that's valid, of course, and I asked Carmine to please participate, and I know he'd like to. Here's the perspective I bring to it. I am not a veteran, but I come from the family side. My father was killed in Vietnam, and I just, so therefore anything veterans is near and dear to my heart, coming from that perspective. So without a doubt, I'd like to be involved, and certainly.
So, I go back and forth, whether we do a liaison, make you the liaison, or do a committee. I feel what you're saying, but if we do a committee, I don't think we should be on that committee. We can go to the meetings, participate.
No, not on it.
But we shouldn't be a chairman of the committee or anything like that.
Liaison is correct, yeah.
But I know we got two people that could be on the committee. Like, what numbers are you looking for a committee? 5, 6, 7?
Oh my goodness.
What do they have in Wappingers? How big is the committee? Is there a committee in Wappingers?
Yeah,
that's
7.
There's 7 of them?
Yeah.
So how about we do a email blast calling all veterans? I'll do a separate one on that, and see if there's any interest to do a committee.
Right.
And if there's an interest to do a committee.
Advisory board type?
No, I like to do it. I like to do a real one, because we're gonna start promoting our history in the town of Fishkill. We've got a lot of. I think the history and our tourism. We got a lot of hotels. I think we have veterans. There's more than the Revolutionary War history. There's Civil War history. Part of the Underground Railroad was here. I think if we had more veterans, they might have different opinions and find more things that we can promote.
Absolutely.
So that way I do want to do an advisor, a real committee with some powers that they sit like and the town of Bedford is an example that they have a right to have a planning, they have a planning board, zoning board. We would have a veterans committee, but I don't want to have a veterans committee with just 3 people on it. That's where I just don't want to be at.
Yeah.
If there's an interest of doing a committee, and every year we pick a topic, like for example, the advisory committee could be in charge of saying what we're going to put at the Veterans War Memorial once a year when we do a plaque. Instead of us talking about it, they would talk about it and bring it to us for a vote.
Right.
So those are the things,
Right.
Setting up Memorial Day ceremonies, Veterans Day ceremonies. This is what I like to see them do, and find more history regarding the military and the veterans and these wars that happened through the town of Fishkill.
Right.
So I'm conflicted. I'd like to see it full bore, but as Louise said, it's hard to find people to volunteer.
Well, that's it.
And I don't want to.
We got to start slow.
So how about an eGov blast calling all veterans?
Yeah.
And we'll do that separate.
Where are we going to put it for them to respond?
I'll do a separate email on that only.
Yeah, okay.
Just calling all veterans so they don't get mixed up with another one.
Right.
And if there's an interest of doing it, we can do it.
Find out.
We can find out.
Yeah.
And then we can charge them to do stuff and find
Right.
stuff.
And I really hope we do, veterans. If you're listening out there, we're trying to help you, get organized. I hope you do participate.
Hey, don't hesitate to ask us, any of us.
And I do appreciate, the interest and passion Councilmember Rye's shown. It's enough to get me to come out and, I'm enthused. I want something like this to kind of form and work. I think it's a great way to kind of promote, Fishkill in general. I mean, this is where we are. This is we should have something.
It's so amazing, the town of Fishkill. We actually had a real Fishkill Tea Party. Not the stuff you saw 10 years ago, we did that with politics. We had a real Fishkill Tea Party. Okay, the real deal. No one knows nothing about it. This is the stuff that's here. The first 10 copies of the New York State Constitution were published here. A guy left New York City, and he published the New York packet during the combat times, was chased by the British here. I'm trying to find the original copies and archive them, but all these libraries are closed due to COVID. I would like to see a Veterans Committee get access to that stuff, archive them, and we have that as an asset for the residents of Fishkill. So there's so much that could be done and used, but we got to make sure we can get 7 that are committed. And I'm willing to give them the power to do all this stuff. So, make sense?
It's all great, yeah.
All right, so he'll follow up with you in a couple of weeks. If we can get 7 people, maybe we form a real committee, maybe we do it by local law, and we make it the real deal. Because I want to do it I want to do the real deal. I don't want to do advisory or anything like that. I want it to be here forever.
Yeah, and the first act should be, once we get that done, and I pray everybody does get involved, is we set a meeting and go out to Castle Point and try to drill down on issues, so we make sure that we get the voices, because, we're the host town of Castle Point, so we've got to, I'm really hopeful that the veterans get involved.
We would advise, we would give our recommendations to them, and they would present it to them.
Yeah.
That's how I would like it to work.
Yeah.
They're in charge. We support them.
Yeah.
That's how it's got to be done. Sir? Tommy?
We have 2 dedicated town historians, Willie Molina and Joey Capacini, a wealth of information about this area. Right down from day one.
Yeah, a lot of our history has been paved over, and a lot of developers don't like towns with a lot of history because it prevents them from putting up high-density housing. So a lot of it was wasted over the years. So, but that's a different story, and I don't see this board or any future board allowing that to happen ever again. Sir, you have to come up. You guys okay with him making a comment? Okay.
They're going to hear me without that.
Then you got to be loud.
I got to follow my rules.
All right, follow your rule.
Possible help would be the Marine Corps League, the American Legion, the DAV, and the Veterans of Foreign War, which I'm members of. We might want to, if you wanted, I would find out if they would be interested in helping out with this thing.
Are you interested in joining the committee?
I'm sorry?
Are you interested in joining our committee?
No.
Okay. See, that's the problem, guys. A lot of good ideas, and I understand.
I would, at the next meeting, and I go to all the meetings.
Okay.
At the next meeting, I would bring it up.
We're looking for Fishkill residents. We'd like to keep them included.
Well, Fishkill residents, I'm a Fishkill resident.
All right, so you're appointed.
So you're appointed,
You're
volunteer.
in. All right, guys, we got a big meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So you done, Brian?
You don't want me to do it yet, right?
I want you to do it. I want you to join the committee too.
Coordinate with Virgil.
Yeah, anybody that's from Fishkill, let us know. Brian, you good?
Yep.
Okay, number 2, discussion of the Fox Ridge sewer takeover. This is one of those things that took how many years? 40, 30, 100 years?
Excuse me, Supervisor, she needs to know what was it tabled to? The first.
Give me 2 months. So the Fox Ridge, are you going to recuse yourself?
Yeah.
You don't have to mention that now.
Yeah, he was with them.
All right. So we're doing a lot of cleanup here for the last 2 years and this 3rd year. The town supervisor, project managers, water system operator, and member of HOA met on September 21st, 2021 to discuss the takeover of this district. A tentative agreement was made to accept $20,000 from the HOA to video and make repairs to the sewer lines. $5,000 was also agreed for escrow. The main concern was location of the trees. If there is a repair, trees will be removed and will not be permitted to be replanted. However, bushes would be permitted to be replanted. The town is also requesting that the issuance of a blanket easement for access to the pipes, so if future repairs are made, they will make it easier to do. So to get to this point probably took, what, 30 years? We got it done in less than 2?
Got it done in 6 months.
So did you get up and say who you are and what a great thing we're doing for you guys today?
Good to see you all, and I know it's late, so I'll be quick. I'm Gregory Grod. I'm a resident here at Fishkill, right behind us. I happen to be the president of our Board of Managers, and we've been working actively the last 6 months to come to this conclusion. I do want to thank Mr. Supervisor. I would like to thank the engineering team that's been involved, the board to a variety of degrees and to an ultimate degree, hopefully today. and to a lot of supporters to get it done. It started out with a lot of different views. See, if we let them do that, are they going to tear down all our trees? Are they going to put driveways in? Or the town saying, we can't really do anything until we have you inspect it once or twice or whatever, and we were going back and forth like this. We finally had all the players together, a good set of lawyers working together, and I think we have a proposal that's sound, and I'm anxious to hear you guys agree with that and move on to the next steps.
You're welcome. Thank you. You guys okay to bring that to resolution?
Yes.
All right. Next up is, 1, 2, 3. Next up is discussion of modifying the toll list. The town board has previously discussed considering amending the town of Fishkill toll list beginning January 2022. The town board will discuss potential candidates for consideration to be added to the toll list. Councilman Foreman, this is something you wanted to do. You can start.
Okay, so right now we have 4 tow companies who participate on the towing rotation list. 2 tow companies had a contract with the town, and two tow companies did not have a contract with the town, but they were all on the same list. In the meantime, it is my understanding that this contract with the 2 contractors has expired. It is also my understanding that one of the tow companies recently sold their business. So I think it is an appropriate time, and I'm up for suggestions here, to welcome any tow contractors to see if there is any interest in participating on our tow rotation list. I know of one Fishkill business that is already interested. There could be more out there. So I'm open to figure out how the rest of the town board wants to proceed, if they want to proceed.
Brian?
I want to defer to hearing from Louise. I know
Louise is the liaison to the tow trucks. So Louise, you're up.
So I just heard what the councilman said, and if there was due diligence done to understand where we've come from the tow list and where we are now, you would understand that, I'll just read what I have here and then we can move on. One of my duties as a sergeant with the state police was maintaining the tow list at SB Wappinger. When I began on the board in 2020, I asked to be the liaison to the tows. The prior board and I changed the tow policy to the current policy with the application. There were only 2 companies on the list for decades. They monopolized the list. We gave other companies the opportunity to be on the list by adding 2 more companies. Since then, the chief and I have worked together to try and make the process a smooth one, and we deal with any issues as they arise, and we will continue to. By discussion with our prior attorney, he suggested that we leave the 2 people in the contract to finish out their contract and then roll into the rotating list that we have, which is exactly what we've done. The 2 people that were in the contract, one of them was NTC, and you probably read the emails, maybe not, that he rolled right into the list. He remained. He filled out the application. He gave us all the information he needed. It was provided to the police department. He maintained his spot on the list. The other person, I was recently advised that High-End Automotive has acquired Cervone's. That's the 4th towing company that was on our list. Their business was right next door to Cervone's, and they now have taken over the auto body shop, the tow trucks, and they retained their phone number. I went down today to the shop to inspect it, and I met with the owners. They need to have their tow trucks lettered with their business names on it and provide me with their workers' comp insurance policy with a new driver that they have hired to work for them. I will take them out of the rotation list for now until they can provide me with the rest of the necessary information, and then I can go back and re-inspect their trucks and then add them back to the rotation once it's completed. I don't think that we need to do anything further to our tow list. Just because you have a business in our town does not guarantee you the right to be on our tow list, because it's a privilege. It is not a right to be on our list. Allowing tow companies to provide their own price list is also a good thing. They're all business owners. They should be able to know what their costs are and know what to charge accordingly. Each accident scene can produce different costs. If there's an issue with pricing, then the insurance company would contact us and we could look into that further. We also changed the responsibility of the tow policy to the town board to give the operation of the list more oversight. Oversight is always a good thing. At this time, things are running smoothly, and I don't think we need to add any other companies. But if there was any, if we did, their paperwork would have to be reviewed by me, and I then forward it to the chief after it's filed with the clerk. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, so, do you mind? So, it sounds to me like we have 4 tow companies, and they all have possibly 4 different set of rates. And I just don't think that sounds right to me, why, you know, on Monday, tow company A charges what they charge, and on Tuesday, the same type of incident happens, and tow company B charges what they want to write. I mean, if they're going to do business with the town, and they want to be on the rotation list, I think we should sit down and have a standard rate for all the tow companies.
Okay, so now we'd be going back in time because they did that when they had a contract. They're businessmen, they're allowed to charge what they want, this is America, and they've given us their price list. If it's something that's outrageous, then it will be brought to our attention because, like I said, the insurance company will see it and they'll possibly get in trouble from the insurance company. We've made these changes to make it a better system, so I don't really understand why it is that you feel the need to go down this, because this was my area as a liaison, so I feel that we don't need to do that, and I don't want to go backwards back to the way that it was. I feel we've moved forward, and it's a good thing, and we should leave it the way that it is.
Okay, that's your opinion. I really just don't understand why a resident gets charged on Monday one rate, and then on Monday night, another resident might get charged at a different rate. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. You say we're going back in time. To me, it's common sense that, hey, if they want to do business with the town, then there should be an agreed upon standard rate that everybody pays.
Okay, they're not working for the town, they work for themselves.
I understand that, but they are on our towing list.
Okay, you don't have to raise your voice, I can hear you from here.
Okay, I just want to make sure you hear me.
Oh, yeah, I always hear you, believe me. So I also want to just say that I'm not really sure if you should be involved in any discussions with the tows or voting on any of the tows, because you and I have had a conversation where you said that you have a close personal relationship with one of the people that's actually one of the 2 original tow owners, which is NTC. He's also, NTC is also the Fishkill GOP president who goes around and gets signatures for anybody in the Republican Party. So I'm questioning if that could be a conflict. It's my opinion, so I'm just putting that out there that I think that maybe you shouldn't even be involved in these discussions.
I'll leave that to the town attorney to decipher. I don't see how that's a conflict at all.
You've said that you eat breakfast with him every day, talk to him every day, and he's someone who's been before the
I talk to who every day? What are you talking about?
You and I had a conversation once where you said that he is your good friend that you have breakfast with every day. He's come before the board complaining because he wants things to change back to the way they have been. So to me, I'm not understanding why it is that you're not staying in your lane and dealing with the liaison issues that you have, which one of them is the courts, that I haven't heard anything about the courts. So I'm just hoping that maybe you could focus on your liaison issues in the future and leave the ones that I have to myself with the rest of the town board.
You're entitled to your opinion.
You got anything, Carmine?
On a scale of importance to me, this is not very important. And I know it sounds mean. I just think that we need to have a max of 4 tow companies. Who they are, I think if we want to add somebody, I think Louise should come back to us as liaison and give her a report and her recommendation. If we agree with her, we agree with her. If we don't, we vote accordingly. I just don't think that we need to really get angry with each other, upset. This is not very important.
So the 4th one, I'm going to come back to the board to let you know if they finish up with all of the information that they need to give me. So I can report back to the board once I have all of that.
John, do you want anybody to be recognized or anybody that you're thinking of?
Well, I don't know if there are any contractors who have submitted paperwork. Louise?
There's somebody that has submitted it in the past, but they were not given the opportunity because they had other issues.
Okay,
Can I offer a thought?
yeah, go ahead.
I understand, and I don't like my liaison toes stepped on either, and I can appreciate, but John has a passion for this, and he's looked into it, and I understand you've been involved for quite some time. I'm just wondering, can you two meet and kind of talk through this so we get maybe you guys help us get a clearer direction? Because I'm kind of conflicted back and forth here. I want to support John and what he's doing. I'm hearing Louise. Is it okay for you guys? Would you guys commit to just talking through this? And
We have talked through it. We had a conversation, which is where I heard that he was very close friends with the NTC owner. I don't think it's a passion. I think it's a conflict myself. If there is a tow company that you want me to look at, I don't have a problem, because I spoke to Councilman Isfan, and I told him that if there's somebody that was previously filled out an application, then I will look into that, and if they don't have any V&T violations, they comply with all the state laws, including workers' compensation laws for all employees who work for them, then I will look into that, because right now I have the other one pending to see if they're going to be able to stay on the list. But if you'd like me to do that while I look into the fourth one, I can do that and bring it back to the board.
Okay. I'm satisfied.
Who's she looking into?
John.
What's that?
Who do you want her to look into?
What else wrongs? That's what I think. Is that what you're looking at?
There's another one.
No, I have had a conversation with Tow Boss, who is a Fishkill business that doesn't necessarily make him eligible to be on our tow list, but it should give them some standing, and they are definitely interested in being on the rotation.
Okay, yeah, well, the standing would be if you get to that tow scene within 30 minutes, you are proper and with your how you deal with the people, how you deal with the police at the scene, and there's no issue, so that's what I look for. But
All right, so-
I don't have a problem doing what Mr. Councilman Isfan asked me to.
So if this person that bought us around is not good, you're going to have somebody else to recommend?
Well, I'm gonna take them out of the rotation list for now, because they've provided me with the whole packet of everything.
Okay.
So if they label all their trucks, if they give me whatever they need for workers' compensation, then, I would put them back into the splat. I'm willing to go, and Councilman Isfan said that he would be willing to assist me if I needed it, just to have a second set of eyes, so I don't have anybody questioning
good idea.
anything I'm doing, and I'll bring it back to the board in about a month.
So this specific item, can we just close this item out? Or,
Yeah, if we can.
At the moment, yes,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
all right, so if you got something, you two, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Can I just ask one question? We're friends with a lot of people all throughout the town, and a lot of them are business owners. Are there any major complaints with NTC? Is there any issues other than he happens to be engaged with the political party? Is he have an up-and-up company, or is his record good? I mean, I just want to know along professional lines, since you're the liaison.
No, my concern with him is that he was one of the two tows that was, like I said, they monopolized the list for years, and to me, he's someone who's privileged, who's had that privilege, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm not talking about...
In my opinion.
No,
because of the political
that's not my
thing.
question. That's not my
Okay, I'm getting
question.
to- so-
My question is,
Yeah,
forget, you're going back in time, I'm asking
getting to
now.
the last
I'm just
part of
merely
it.
asking
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
are there any, violations? Is he a good company? Forget about all that. I understand you don't like that past stuff, but that's not where I'm going. I just want to know if he's, any issues with him as far as a company right now operating. I'm just curious.
Besides complaining too much, no, we haven't had any complaints.
Okay.
Everything's been fine.
That's all.
Yeah, and even with the state police, we never had any, I did not have any complaints with NTC, even though NTC thought I had complaints with him, and I wasn't going to rotate him onto the list. That was never an issue. As long as he filled out the paperwork, as long as he continued to do what he's doing, it happened, so.
And we did keep him on the list,
Yes,
right?
we did. We just rolled him right in because he was already, his contract expired, and now he's onto the rotating list.
You did the right thing, Louise.
Thank you, Supervisor.
So, Madam Clerk, just get rid of it, close it. Next up, a discussion of possible local law establishing notice of zoning interpretation. We're talking about the 60-day notice, and there was email came the other day about who's going to pay for it. Is that the same thing? Can we just add that to the local law and set the public hearing?
If you have the language handy, I didn't bring it with me today. Do you keep the language in the revised draft I sent?
Well, you have the draft, right?
I've prepared it, I don't have it with me tonight.
Okay, so can we add that to the proposed draft? Sure. I don't think it's a big deal, but it has to be ready 9 days before the public hearing, right?
No, 9 days before it's acted upon, you can hold the public hearing with it.
So we can set the public hearing, as long as we get it in a couple of days, it'll be fine?
Yeah, but you should have it tonight in order to set the public hearing on it.
I don't think we've done that like that in the past, but
What's that?
I think in the past, as long as we've set the public hearing and given it to the clerk.
So let's say if we set the public hearing for the first meeting in May, that's almost a month, right? And then we have the paperwork ready for the next meeting, can we do it like that?
You can do it like that.
Okay, that's what guys, what I like to do.
Wait, she has a question.
There's a resolution on here already to set the public hearing.
Okay, for what day?
Can you open that up, sir?
I was saying table it so we can redo the wording.
We have 2 weeks to do that.
Yeah.
We got time to do it.
Just add the sentence.
Mr. Gavel will give us the.
So what day is the public hearing?
She's checking.
Okay.
It takes a little bit longer to open. It is second May 4th.
May 4th.
That's the first.
So we're looking at almost a month, and we'll have it all done by the next meeting, and that'll give us more than enough ample time for notice, correct?
Yes.
All right.
And this is, so we can satisfy people out there, this is making sure that if there are questions on some sort of development going forward, that there's please explain this adequately.
I'll read it right now.
Yeah.
All right, so the discussion of possible local law to establish notice of a zoning code. The town code of the town of Fishkill empowers the town zoning administrator to render interpretations of the town code contained in chapter 150 or zoning. Such interpretations may be requested by a potential applicant or by the town planning board or zoning board of appeals. While the town code requires a notice of application, acceptance, and public hearings by the planning board and notice of public hearings by the zoning board of appeals to all property owners within 500 feet of the subject property, town code does not currently require notice of zoning interpretations to those same property owners. The town code has received a request from a resident to adopt a local law to amend the provisions of the town code to include a requirement to issue a notice of zoning code interpretation to all properties owners within 500 feet of the subject property. The town board will discuss directing the town attorney to review the applicable sections of the town code and prepare such proposed legislation. So every so often, something new happens, and what we found out is that the building inspector, zoning officer, can give an interpretation to a land use issue, and he gives that to planning or zoning, and then there's a 60-day period to where if there's no complaints, it becomes de facto, I wouldn't say law, but it is what it is. So what we're going to do is, if there's an interpretation, anybody living within 500 feet of that property is going to get a letter in the mail paid for by the project sponsor, and what will happen is they'll tell you what's going on and that you have a right to take this appeal to the Board of Appeals, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. So that's basically the gist of it. Another step for open government where if you don't like something, you're going to be notified and you'll have due process. You have a right to do that. So this continues our commitment for open government in the town of Fishkill. It's going to be a simple, easy law. Any questions? I got a boogie.
4 and 5.
I'll.
They're kind of tied together.
Yes, yes, they are.
Yeah.
And when is the next meeting? Because it's almost my baby.
Yeah.
Me too.
What's the next? Oh, he's not here. So 14 days, 2 weeks from this Wednesday, so 2 weeks from today, next board meeting. All right, so we're okay with setting the public hearing today?
Yes.
Okay. Next up is number 5, discussion. We already did that. So number 6, discussion of resolution to authorize Vanderwater for a tax cert. Anybody have any questions on these? Everybody hates them, but this guy Mr. Barnett does a very good job saving us money. Any questions?
No.
I hate them.
We hate them.
Yeah.
To consent? Everybody okay with consent?
Yes.
All right. Next up, 7, discussion of resolution to authorize another tax cert. Everybody okay with that one?
Yes. Yes.
Sadly, yes.
Number 8, discussion of resolution to amend the budget for creation of recreational field hockey program.
Yes.
Everybody good with that?
Yeah, Jay's already put out, I told him he could put out the flyers just to get the.
Yeah, so we're going to create a field hockey program in the recreation center. Take care. Number 9, discussion of town pins. You see everybody wearing these nice pins. I like them.
Pins.
Everybody okay with me buying some pins?
Yes.
How
Mr.
many?
Gabb is okay to buy them? Is there a process? Do we
Yeah.
have to do a resolution for that?
You could just do it by voice vote.
Do what?
Do it by voice vote as long as you set a limit on the purchase amount.
Yeah, how many do you want? How much does it cost?
Is $400 too much of a limit for you guys?
Is anything under 500
What's the-
is,
what's the
you can
limit?
just do it, right?
I thought it was 600.
You don't have to be an RFP.
Well,
or
you have a procurement policy
Right,
that would say
right.
you would have to go and get bids on it, but you can still authorize.
Ozzy, how many do you want?
Quotes.
I'd like to
But
give
you
out
could
to
still
people.
authorize them to spend up to
Like
$400
$500?
to purchase pins if you're so
Yeah,
inclined.
without a resolution, you don't have to.
You don't need a written resolution, you can do it.
You
by
okay with me
voice
doing
vote.
it with if it's reasonable?
Supervisor, are they like, how much do they cost? $1 a piece, something
I
like
had
that?
Greg, he's outside talking
Yeah.
to someone.
Yeah, we're fine with it.
They're like,
I think we're fine.
Yeah.
no more than
We're
500
fine.
bucks?
No more than 500.
No more than 500?
Yeah, you could start with that. If you need more, you
Should
can
be a
come back to
motion
us.
and a second to allow you to spend up to $500 to purchase the pins.
So make a motion that you allow me to spend $500 for pins. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Gaba. Do that for the codes.
Jacket.
All right, next up is out-of-district tenant for his hookup at Magnolia Drive. That's the property right next to Dutchess Stadium. You see that lot being cleared. They want to hook into the water and sewer. I'm okay with it. Everybody else okay with it?
Yes.
Yes.
Consent. Discussion number 11, surplus. This will be stuff from the Parks and Grounds that he deserves as is. The City Town of Fishkill, certain property has become obsolete over the town, is replaced and no longer needed. The working supervisor of Parks and Grounds has recommended certain property be deemed surplus. In accordance with the state finance law, the town board will declare the property will be surplus and direct the working supervisor of Parks and Grounds to dispose of surplus in accordance with the town administrative procedures and sell them as is. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All right, consent. Next one up is discussion of resolution to appoint part-time seasonal employees in Highway Department. The town board has received requests from the town highway superintendent to appoint 2 candidates to part-time seasonal. This is every year. Everybody okay with this?
Yes.
Consent. Next one is discussion of modification of 2022 adopted general A fund budget for statue installation. The town of Fishkill in 2021 adopted an adopted budget allocated $180,000 for the town to commission the construction and installation of a statue depicting Chief Daniel Nimham. In 2021, the town utilized $150,000. We utilized $130,000 so far of the budgeted $180,000, and the remaining $30,000 of allocated funds were unused. The town is obligated by the GML law to maintain a balanced budget in the governmental funds or the priority funds. The supervisor has requested the budget modification to elect the unused $30,000 approved in 2021 adopted budget for the installation of the Chief Nimham statue. This request is for an increase in expenditure line A71105.02022, general parks, capital seals, plaques, and statues by $30,000, an increase in the revenue line A12204.999, general fund appropriated fund balance by $30,000. It was always at 180. We did not carry over to 30,000, so
Well-
there's no extra spending.
I don't think it was you. It was not encumbered properly, so.
It's okay.
But it's not that we're spending more. We're
No.
just spending what the prior board approved.
It was 180 from the beginning, and we're not going over that.
Correct.
It was just that, at the end of the year, it was 150, and it didn't get carried over to this year. It wasn't earmarked. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, sir. Okay. All right, there was a resident up on, I was surprised I didn't get more of these, in Beacon Hills when they were doing the town board received a request from a town resident, 13 Fairview Road, for reimbursement of damage to their property. Construction from the Beacon Hills water main project caused a water leak in the resident's basement, damaged the resident's oil burner, and current cost of $562 from the residents provided the invoice for the town board's consideration as attached. So when they're doing the roads up there, he's on the road's up high, the house is down, and it wasn't done right, and the water came and took out his burner. So
Yeah.
I like to reimburse him. We got plenty of money in that. We're gonna have a surplus in the Beacon Hills. Everybody okay with consent on that?
That's fine.
That's
Okay,
fine.
consent. Next one up is discussion of resolution authorizing copy release for the police department. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Yep.
16, discussion of portal for water customers. Louise, that's you.
Let me get my thing up here. I'm going to ask that we table it for a month, but just so that everybody knows, when the prior board got the water meters, this was supposed to be part of that program. It actually gives people the access to looking at alarms themselves. So part of it was supposed to be that if you had a leak, a water alarm would go off, but it was never provided to the citizens. So when the people in the water department were getting them, they were thinking of them as, just something that they would do. I think I had it written down, like as a courtesy. So it shouldn't be a courtesy. So if the new program was supposed to give you access to see these alarms, then we should do that. I set up a couple of appointments. I'm trying to get it in a couple of weeks with the guy who actually has a contract. Carmine's going to assist me in that, and then we'll bring it back to the board and see if it's worth us doing and what the cost is.
All right, when would you like the table till?
Like a month.
A month, Becky, please?
Yeah.
Right. Next up, the discussion of resolution to authorize wage increases for the Highway Department and staff. I've been working with Councilman Rye on this. The town board has received a request from the Highway Superintendent, Glenn Schofield, that the town board authorize wage increases to Highway Department staff in the positions of motor equipment operator, highway mechanic, working foreman, and working supervisor. This request is due to the current town of Fishkill Highway Department wages lagging behind those of nearby municipalities with similar road mileage. Additionally, the highway superintendent notes that previous town administration eliminated all step increases and longevity bonuses, making it difficult for the highway department to retain employees offered more competitive jobs. The highway superintendent states that the department is currently shorthanded due to retirement and a resignation from an employee accepting higher paying jobs. An additional employee is expected to retire later this year. In the past 2 years, the highway department has advertised for the position of a MEO without any interested qualified applicants. The highway superintendent requests the town board adjust hourly wages for the new hires to $24.50 for hires with CDL and $22 for hires without a CDL, that's commercial driver's license, to be adjusted to $24.50 once the employee obtains a CDL during their 6-month probationary period. The superintendent likewise requested all current employees in the position of MEO, highway mechanic, working families, and working supervisor receive an increase of $3 an hour to their currently hourly wage. In the interest of minimizing the impact of this request of the 2022 adopted budget, the highway superintendent proposes not filling one existing vacancy within the highway department this year and includes plans for the position and budgeting process for 2023. The town board will discuss this request from the highway department, and before I was supervisor, I sat at these meetings and watched these truck driver positions. They wouldn't even be posted. They would be highly desired, and they had 100 applicants for one job. Today it's turned around. No one wants these jobs because it doesn't pay anything. And if we can't, advertise a living wage, we're not going to get our roads plowed, the roads fixed, and it's going to become a big problem. And even though I got a CDL, I don't want to drive a truck at night and plowing. So I support this action. We'll work with Councilman Rye on this. I hope it passes tonight, and I'll just hear from you guys.
Well, we have to pass it, it's all there is to it. It's one of those things, it's a perfect storm, everything that you just mentioned. As of right now, somebody that was going to retire and somebody that's going to resign, I don't believe the paperwork is in, so maybe we'll get a reprieve and not have to fill those slots. Who knows what's going to happen there? But it's the issue of making sure, yes, these guys are happy, making a decent wage. I know it's tough to do after budget appropriation, but we just need to do it and bite the bullet.
John?
Thank you. This business of adjusting salaries during the year is becoming routine, and it irks me. This is our 7th meeting of the year, and we have already been asked to, on January 5th, resolution to authorize modification for salary increase for the town clerk. On January 19th, resolution to authorize pay increase for the highway department motor equipment operator, and resolution to authorize pay increase for justice court staff. And now tonight, April 6th, resolution to authorize wage increase for the highway department and authorize pay increase for the parks and grounds. The time to address salaries is at budget time, not making salary adjustments at every other meeting. As Councilman Isvan already stated, we are making progress with the hiring of our HR director, whatever her title or his title going to be. One of the first projects I will ask our new hire to do is to compare salaries that our neighboring towns are offering versus what is offered here at the town of Fishkill. I suspect the budget process this year will look a lot different than it has in the past. I do support this resolution, but we got to stop making these salary adjustments in the middle of the year.
I agree with Councilman Foreman 100%.
So do I.
I do. The problem is, if we wait till next year, we have no one plowing the roads and fixes them, and I think he does realize that that's a strong possibility, and he's 100% correct, and I support everything that you said. And next year, we're not going to, the 2023 budget, they're not going to get a pay increase. So I've already put that down in stone that that's not going to happen. It's just, it gets to the point where we can't find people because we don't pay enough.
And that's what our new hire can lay out to us.
Yeah,
whoever that's going to be.
And
Right.
me and Louise have talked about that for the last 2 years, trying to get somebody in there to do
Yeah.
a scale and all this other stuff.
I'm ready whenever you're ready.
And you are 1,000,000% correct, and I agree with you 100%, because I'm going to tell you right now, we're probably going to have one more department come in and ask for the same thing, and they're going to be told the same thing, you're not going to get a pay raise next year. But it's very difficult for me. We got a lot of projects going on. We're closing out a lot of projects, and the residents of Fishkill, they expect good roads, plowed roads, and,
And we may find out that our pay scale is lower than our neighboring towns.
It is.
Right.
But, when the HR person comes to us, we'll at least have something official to look at.
I support that 100%, John.
I support it 100%. And
You're 100% correct. I
puts a
agree.
lot of pressure on us. We just came in, and this comes at us, but we have to act. We have to keep the staff.
You're absolutely right, Brian, and it's difficult for me because we spent a good 2-3 months doing, and you'll see, that's why I want you guys to go to the school, and you'll see what we got to do.
Yeah.
And there's different lines where you can take the money, you can't take the money, but we have to keep employees here, and if we don't have the staff, then who gets blamed? We get blamed.
I know.
So it's a difficult situation.
It's very difficult.
And let me tell you something, a few years ago, they would cut your throat to get one of these MEO jobs, truck driver jobs, and that's just not the case now because they don't pay enough. And
Can I
that's,
just have a word?
and that's a fact.
Did you?
Thank you.
No, Tommy, no, you could talk, you could talk under agenda items in a little bit,
Yeah.
bit.
So, for myself, I've been saying since the first day I was on the board that this town needs to have a set written policy from the HR person to define positions, salaries, performance evaluations, and raises. It didn't happen with our last HR person, but hopefully when we find the next one, it actually will. Any consideration for raises, in my opinion, should be done at the same time each year.
Right.
From what I've been told, the prior supervisor took away many incentives that employees had, raise increases, longevity, AL, PL, sick leave,
Right.
and instead was merged into PTO. We can't close the gap on salary increases across the town in 4 years, as this disparity has been created over at least the past 8 years. The proposed raises, although may be justified, should not be done now. Using reserves is not fiscally responsible. And when we give these large raises now, they won't stop there. We should wait until we actually have a written HR policy in place to follow. In my opinion, we should not set and approve the requests before us, and we should review these requests during budget time instead. We have to remember that we will need more money in the very near future for a full-time HR person and potentially a couple of other full-time positions that may be requested in the near future. I am not in agreement with the timing of the raises as suggested, and just so you know, the clerk should have gotten her raise last year, so I would not have included that in the sentence, because if it was my vote, it would have been last year. Thank you.
Carmine?
So, I have 30 employees. And when I'm paying my employees more than our town is, I think that we have something that's not correct. I do yearly raises. I do it once a year, and I agree with everybody that's saying that. We need to be consistent. We got to have a set standard. We got to have incentives for the employees to move up within the ranks, some motivation, make them hungry, but we need to take care of them. I did some research, just quick, and I was shocked that our neighboring town, we're raising them up to 24, but our competitors, who's Wappingers, Poughkeepsie, they're paying 29. So I don't want to lose any more employees. We have several good people that are ready to leave for an opportunity to work for another town for more money. We're training them on our dime, and then they're leaving, fully trained to go somewhere else. So I am full support of the highway guys getting this raise immediately.
Well said, Carmine. I appreciate the honest debate. Everybody made sense with this. And I swear to God, I hope we do get an HR person, and, because we don't have to come here at this for the next 2 years dealing
Right.
with this stuff. This is similar to what we talked about the Veterans Committee. Let them do it, bring it to us when they're done.
Right.
Instead of doing this every so often. So we can move this to resolution only. Similar thing, discussion of resolution to authorize pay increases for parks and grounds due to the increase of the minimum wage and due to the current economic environment, obtaining and maintaining qualified, motivated staff having difficult to sustain and acquire. The town of Fishkill working supervisor in parks and grounds have submitted a request to the town board asking the board to consider an increase in the rate of pay for the parks and grounds staff. A budget impact analysis was completed and determined that the park salary and fringe total will increase the general A fund by $31,000 and the town of outside village fund B by $10,000. Exact same thing going on with the highway department, but these guys get paid even less. So Carmine, you're the liaison to that.
Just to reiterate what I said, and this is probably even more closer to what type of business I do, which is, I do snow removal and landscaping, is that starting rate for the private industry coming in as no experience is about $18 an hour. We're paying ours coming in at 16. So, and compared to some of the other towns, we're $3, $4 behind where our competitors are, and that's our other towns that are neighboring towns. So, yes, unfortunately, I know this is tough. We have a lot of issues with increase of cost of living. These gentlemen work very hard. I am full support of this because I think we're lacking big time on our salaries, our hourly wages for our Parks Department also.
John?
Nope.
Brian?
Good.
Louise?
Everything I said before, I just reiterate, because I feel the same way about this department. This one confuses me a little bit, because you want to increase the pay for the 4 people to 21, and in the past, we differentiated a head groundskeeper, and I think we gave them an extra $1 for their responsibilities. So now we're setting the salary at the same for everyone, so I don't understand what the thought process is there. And also it says the new hires will get $20 an hour. Is that just full-time, or what will it be for part-time and seasonal hires as well, or just full-time?
So put that for resolution, Becky?
Do you have any idea, Carmen?
Yeah, that was just for full-time.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, next up is discussion of resolution to approve the settlement agreement for RUB. So we're done with the salt shed. This has to do with the salt shed project. Salt shed project was basically 4 contractors. One that did the electrical, one that did the concrete, one that did the roof, and one that did the gas station. The electrical and the foundation, we're done with that. We had some disagreement with the warranty for the roof. That's been taken care of with this settlement agreement, and then the only thing we have left is the gas station to take care of that so we can close this one out. So you guys okay with this in consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so consent. Next one is this, to the office of dedication from Foxbridge condominiums. We're okay to put this in a resolution?
Yes.
Okay. Not yet, wait till we vote.
Yeah.
Next up is discussion of resolution to establish on the Village of Fishkill water sewer rates. From what I got from the controller, they actually went down .08 cents. You guys okay with putting that in consent?
Yep.
Yes, please.
Well, next year it might go up 8 cents.
Well, we'll take this year, we'll take it while we get it.
Next up is privilege of the floor for agenda items. Up is privilege of the floor for agenda items. Anything that's on the agenda you can speak about.
Tom Mosh, Wappingers. Just want to make a comment regarding truck drivers. Been a CDL holder since I was 19 years old. I'm 54 years old. Having a CDL license is not a right, it's a privilege. And that privilege comes with responsibility. We have a trucking shortage of drivers in this country. Ever since most states have legalized marijuana, there's been a problem with truck drivers through the drug clearinghouse. Be familiar with that term, drug clearinghouse. 30 to 40% of truck drivers who tested positive have lost their job and lost their license. When hiring a truck driver for running $1 million equipment and the public is safety, you guys have to do your due diligence hiring a good truck driver with a good CVA record, no drug or alcohol complaints against them. And to pay them top dollar to come work for you in the town has to be precedent and safety. You'll get 1 million applicants, yeah, I can drive a truck, but their background, oh, I got arrested for cocaine use, I got a drug test for whatever. Carmine knows what I'm talking about.
We do drug tests.
I know, but I'm saying is that to hire new employees, you could have 50 applicants, and maybe 1 or 2 will be qualified.
Yep.
And that's what you have to think about in the back of your minds as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Anybody else? Come on. Just state who you are.
My name's Phil Regalia. I'm a Fishkill resident. I just had a question about the tow list. Are you guys taking any other applications at now, or are you guys set at?
We could take applications, right?
No, I think we're set right now.
I'm sorry, say that
I think
again?
we're set right now.
We're set right now.
Yeah.
Set?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Which company are you with?
Wappingers Auto Tech.
Okay, so if in the future, somebody rotates, and I'll make sure I
Okay, is there an
contact you.
application we need to fill out?
There is an application that's online. What's it under, Becky?
It's under the town clerk's department.
Okay.
Under their downloadable forms.
At the very bottom.
Yeah, very, very bottom.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay. Next up is consent agenda. I present that as a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Foreman, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. First resolution will be the pay raise for the highway department.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh.
Yeah, wait a minute, wait.
Did I skip something? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, because I can't do the consent agenda tonight because we amended it. So
Okay, there was 2 things, yep.
Yep.
Wait,
Yep, so, okay, now I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now therefore be resolved, the town board as follows. All whereas paragraphs are incorporated herein by reference as though forth in full. Section 2, the town board hereby approves and authorizes a wage increase for the highway department staff and future hires as attached hereto to be effective for the pay period beginning Monday, March 11th. The town supervisor, any other employee or officer designated by the town supervisor shall take all actions necessary to carry out the provisions of this resolution. Number 4, this resolution shall be effective immediately. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second, Carmine. Let's do a roll call vote. Becky?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Councilmember Daniele?
Nay.
Councilmember Istvan?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye is not here at the moment. Okay. Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Supervisor Albrecht?
Yes.
Oh, there he is.
Nope.
I lied.
It's okay. It passed. All right, next up is number 2.
Give me 1 second. I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'll come back to it. Never mind, because Brian didn't vote, so that's a.
Just put him absent or whatever.
Wait, so number 1 was 18, wasn't it?
No, what was it?
No,
That-
no,
did-
no, no.
Isn't that what we moved to?
Yes.
To resolution?
You know what? You are correct.
14.
That's what I thought I was voting on.
Yes, I'm sorry. No.
Okay. So Supervisor?
Yes, ma'am.
I thought I was voting on 18 where it says to move the money to the fund. So that was not it? Is that right?
Yeah, we already voted on that, Louise.
No.
No, I moved number 18.
Moved it out.
I moved 14 and 18 out of consent to
Yeah, I just
resolutions.
thought that was the
So I have to
first
go
time we
backwards on that.
Right, so we, correct.
All right,
Yep.
so what you just read was number 1?
Number 1 for resolutions.
Wait, to authorize the wage increases
Yep.
for highway staff. So then I want to abstain on that one. I thought it was the other one, if that's
Okay,
possible.
you're abstaining from the one we just did.
Yeah, I thought it was 18.
Okay, so you're an
Got it.
abstention?
Yeah.
And us 3 are a yes. Motion passes. Okay, number 2 on resolutions will be the resolution to authorize modification of the 2022 adopted Highway TOV DB fund budget for salary increases. Okay, now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby amends the 2022 Highway TOV fund adopted budget as stated herein. I'll present that as a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Carmine? Do a roll call vote on this too?
So this is to move the money, right?
Yeah, this is number 2.
To move it, okay.
To move the money.
All right, nay.
Okay. All right, Councilmember Eastman?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
I'm sorry, I just re-entered the room.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that a yes?
For you,
I said
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Councilmember Foreman?
Carmine has my proxy, so.
Yes.
Supervisor Albrecht?
Yes. Okay. Next resolution is to authorize the modification of 2022 adopted TOVB fund budget for allocated Parks Department salary increases. Whereas the town board has considered the proposed budget modifications as submitted and deems it in the best interest of the town to make this budget modification. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby amends the 2022 TOVB fund adopted budget as stated herein. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ryan Rye. Roll call vote.
Certainly. Councilmember Daniele?
This is moving money again, right?
Yes, this is to
Okay.
move the
Yeah,
money.
nay.
Okay. All right. Councilmember Istvan?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
I'm sorry, you guys can't hear me, can you? I'm sorry.
Can't hear you.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
And Supervisor Albert?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next one is resolution authorized modification of 2022 adopted budget for Parks Department salary increases. So what they're doing, Louise, is just getting money from different budget lines to square it away. Whereas the town board has considered the proposed budget modification as submitted and deems it to be in the best interest of the town to make the budget modification, now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby amends the 2022 general A fund adopted budget as stated herein. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Carmine, a roll call vote?
Certainly. Councilmember Daniele?
Nay.
Okay, Councilmember Istvan?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Supervisor Albert?
Yes. Resolution number 5, to authorize pay increase for Parks and Ground staff. Now therefore be resolved by the town board as follows. Section 1, all whereas paragraphs are incorporated herein, reference though set forth in full. Section 2, the town board hereby authorizes salary increase for the staff of the Parks and Grounds as attached hereto to be effective with the start pay of beginning April 11th, 2022. Section 3, the town supervisor or any other officer or employee as designated by the town supervisor should take any and all actions necessary to carry out the provisions of this resolution. Section 4, this resolution shall be effective immediately. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Rye, roll call vote.
Councilmember Daniele?
I abstain.
Okay. Councilmember Istvan?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Supervisor Albert?
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 6, resolution to authorize salary increase for part-time clerk. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby approves the salary increase for Mary Boyle to $223. Let me read this whole thing because this is new. Resolution to authorize salary increase for part-time clerk, ID number 7704. Whereas the departure of the full-time clerk in the water and sewer departments, the controller has reassessed the staffing requirements as well as reviewed the job responsibilities and determined that Mary Boyle is an ideal candidate to transition into the open position. And whereas the controller has submitted a request to increase the pay rate of Mary Boyle to $23.50 an hour to recognize the additional duties and responsibilities assigned, and whereas funding is available in the budget line A14905.0101, General Fund Water Sewer Administration Regular Pay, and now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby approves the salary increase for Mary Boyle to $23.50 an hour effective April 4th. I presented a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we got to go back to number 14 in the consent. I think. That's the Fox Ridge?
Was that because I was absent?
No, it's okay, don't worry about it. Okay, so this one, so we're back to number 14 that was in the consent that we took out for resolution. And this is going to be the acceptance of the Fox Ridge Sewer District. So, now therefore, is this what you're waiting for? All right, this is the moment. Before 10 o'clock, okay. Now therefore be resolved as follows. Number 1, the town board hereby accepts the offer of dedication subject to A, receipt of the policy of title insurance for the easements in the amount of not less than $35,000, receipt of the properly executed recording documents for the easements, and receipt of the dedication payment of $20,000, and that the town supervisor hereby authorized to sign any and all documents necessary to complete the dedication of sewer lines and easements. I'll present it as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second, Foreman. So let's have a roll call vote.
Councilmember Daniele?
Aye.
Okay, Councilmember Istvan?
I'm going to recuse myself from this vote because I have a contract with Fox Ridge as I am their landscape and snow removal provider.
Hold on.
Okay, Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
And Supervisor Albert?
After 35 so years, I'd like to say yes. You got it, sir. Congratulations. You guys have found Fox Ridge, you need anything else? Just let us know, okay?
Come back another 35 years.
Yeah. A nice one. All right, the next one is going to be I'll make sure I'm in the right pages here. The resolution or modification of the highway town-wide budget for final salary increase. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby amends the 2022 highway town-wide DA fund adopted budget as stated herein. I'll present that as a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, Brian Rye, roll call vote.
Certainly. Councilmember Daniele?
Nay.
Councilmember Isfan?
Yes.
Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
Supervisor Albrecht?
Yes. So we have one item for special consideration. This will be one of the ARPA monies, which we're doing a great job for the citizens of Fishkill. Unlike, we are basically we got $2.2 million from the federal government, and we're probably going to use at least $2 million for water and sewer improvements. So it's going to be, everybody on this board is doing a real good job for you out there. So this is going to be something that doesn't sound exciting, but it's going to help your water district out. Discussion to authorize issuance of a request for proposal for the Roundabout Water Meter Vault. Water Vault, real exciting. The Roundabout Water Vault has a significant water intrusion issue. Water contributes to material and equipment degradation. The town is requesting proposals from qualified bidders to perform the necessary work to improve the water tightness of the meter vault. The contractor is expected to inspect the meter vault for all locations of potential water leaks, intrusion, including but not limited to the obvious items such as cracks, openings, and lack of sealant. Excavating around the water meter is required to perform a complete inspection. The contractor is to provide a description, plan the proposed solution to improve the water tightness of the meter vault. The contractor is responsible to furnish all labor, tools, materials, and equipment necessary to perform this work. The request for proposal RFP 2022-1 provides the scope of work, a drawing of the water meter vault, qualifications required of the proposers, a date and site visit, fixed price, submission date, and requirements of the proposal. The town's water system operator, CAMO, will coordinate with the contractor during the performance of this work. Once the work is completed, CAMO will perform an inspection and ensure the water vault is clean and dry. Not exciting, but very important for your water.
I'm excited.
Yeah, this is something that needs to be done. And I had Carmine and Louise talking about a loop-in system for the Brickerhoff Water District. This will help the Roundabout Water District. We also got generators coming to Beacon Hills, Glenham, and I forgot, two in Glenham, one in Glenham and two in Beacon Hills. So we're doing a lot of this ARPA money to help you, so when the power goes out, you'll still have water. This water vault here is underground, and we're going to make sure when the water's pumped up, it's clean for you to drink, and it stays good for another 100 years here. So I'd like to go to the next thing on this is the resolution. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby authorize the town designee to request the RFP for qualified contractors to perform the improvements of the Roundabout Water District meter vault, and be it further resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill does hereby authorize the town clerk to advertise for proposals entitled Request for Proposal RFP 2021-1, Town of Fishkill Improvements Water Meter Vault. I present that as a motion. Can I get a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so if we can be quick because we have an executive session, we got the lawyer outside waiting for an hour, so I'd like to move quick on new and old business. Louise, please.
Okay, I thought that we were going to have on the agenda for the hometown hero banners, but it wasn't. I know it was a really busy meeting, so I think it's on for next meeting. Yeah, so I'll talk about it at the next meeting. Also, I've been talking with the secretary from East Fishkill. This was prior to Carmine coming on and him being the liaison, so he's advised that he would help me with that project if I need anything from East Fishkill, so we'll have an update for you at the next meeting. Oh, wait, one more thing, sorry. I hope that threats of intimidation and potential lawsuits from people who come to these meetings don't keep people from running for office. My job as an elected official is to make sure taxpayer money is not wasted. And when it is, I will question it, and I will question it again and again and again. For anyone who's afraid to speak to me, feel free to call me, and I will meet with you and clear up any facts that seem to be misconstrued. Thank you.
Yes, the supervisor and I have been talking about a project that since downstate is closed, and I talked to the councilwoman and councilmen, that I think that if it's possible, and I talked to Senator Skoufis and Senator Susurino, that we look at inquiring for a minimal amount of fee, hopefully it's donated for $1, is to try to pursue taking over the QWL building, which is the quality work-life building that the downstate uses for their correction officers. If it's not being utilized and it's vacant, I'd like to pursue an avenue where we could take over that building and use it for our rec center or senior center, camps, and a potential rent for the town, and something that we can make it very useful.
Everybody okay with us moving on that?
Oh, of course, it's great.
Okay. So
Great
Carmine,
idea.
we'll do it, get it done.
Very good.
John?
Nope.
Brian?
Yes.
Any,
Oh,
new
sorry.
or old business?
I think we're good. I do know that for the comprehensive plan,
Yes.
the survey is out there and posted and all over the place, and it's being pushed, and it's been posted since March 23. It should be out for a month, and then we begin tallying. I would agree to like a two-week extension to May 7 if need be, but I think that to keep on the schedule and to have this thing completed, we need to make sure that this isn't a lengthy process, but I'd go 6 weeks.
You okay with that, John?
Yes.
Carmine?
Yes.
You okay with
I
that?
didn't really hear what you said, but yes.
We want to move,
You
we're
want to
talking
have
about
the
doing.
survey
We're
out
talking about the
longer?
survey doing a month,
Yeah.
and it was pushed up to 2 months, so let's split it in the middle, 6 weeks. How's that sound?
Whatever Councilman Rice said, I agree with.
Okay. What day was it?
I have it calculated to end on May 7.
So on the eGov that we sent out Monday, put that as a notice that that'll be the last day to accept these things. Okay, and we'll send an email to all the people involved in the committee tomorrow.
Did you send it to the?
All right, I guess, Scott, you guys have been getting our weekly reports that the department head said. Are you guys okay with me putting that on the town website?
The reports?
Yeah? Is it,
Why?
Weekly reports?
yeah, well, because we can archive it, we can archive the work.
I don't know about that.
I haven't really thought about that. I mean,
I think I might want to review them, just to see what's in them, to make sure it's not anything that we wouldn't want out there.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Anything confidential or something, I don't know. You talking about just being open and putting information
The
out
stuff
there?
that we
What
get
does
from
Mr.
the,
Gaba think?
Guy cuts the grass, there's 10 arrests, there's,
Right.
we're doing a vault, it's done today, stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Yes, the town attorney.
What do you think, Mr. Gallo?
I don't have a problem with it.
You okay that I start that?
I am.
Okay, all right.
How do you feel?
If the town attorney says it's okay, I'm okay with it.
I guess so.
Carmine?
Maybe we review it first before we actually put it out.
So what we'll do is,
Approve 'em?
what I'll do is, when I get them, I'll send them out, and if no one has a concern, then I'll publish them.
That's fine.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do it that way. So Greg, starting Monday, we're gonna start putting this, I want it on the website. Because if you watch what you're doing, if you watch the meetings, you pay attention to the budget, and you find out what we're doing weekly, you'll know exactly what's going on in the town of Fishkill. That's why I want to be with the public. My other thing is, I talked to Carmine about this, maybe possibly discuss award system in the town of Fishkill, and upping the board members from 4 to 6. Just putting it out there, nothing, just think about it, because everybody knows downstate closed, we don't know what could happen. It could be a significant voting block there that can run the town. So my position is, we shouldn't have one part of town being stronger than the rest of town. I'm not going to go to the mattresses with it, but I'm just putting it out there, and I think we could use 6 board members to begin with anyway. But I'd like to have 6 wards. I would like to recommend 6 wards, and to follow up with our term limits. I think it'd be a good thing, but like I said, I'm not going to make a big deal about it. I just want you guys to think about it. If you guys think it's something that we should pursue, I'll move on it, otherwise it'll just fade away. But we're big enough to have 6 councilmen, so.
I don't think that's the issue.
What's that?
I think the issue is the area, because, most of the board lives on the other side of town. Thankfully,
Well, it'll change when
Councilman Rye, he's in the middle.
But it would change when.
I know, I
there
would
was
just
a
get
change because
concerned
we
that
looked
there
at
wouldn't
people who run
be
those areas.
somebody. Yeah, we can talk about it.
But what I'm saying is this way, the town, you don't know what could happen. Because hypothetically, the state says, I'm going to put 1,000 residential units in there. it could jam us up, and the town would be run by a special interest. And I'd like to avoid what happened in Rockland County to happen here. So, just something to put out there, talk to people about it, and,
It's worth chatting, though.
yeah, it's worth chatting, talk to your friends and neighbors and, committee members and stuff like that, and, I think it's something that we should consider. So next thing is gonna be, next town board meeting is when, Greg?
April 20th.
April 20th. We're going to go into executive session for collective negotiation pursuant to the Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, pursuant to Article 414 of the Civil Service Law. We're not going to talk about anything that we're going to vote on, so we'll see you on April 20th? 20th. Good night, everybody, for watching. Thank you very much.
Oh, wait, happy birthday, Carmen.
Happy birthday, Carmen.
Happy birthday, Carmen.
Birthday to
Happy birthday to you.
So I got to make